conference gets hatched. Look over here. Not over here. Look at this. Shiny, new.
Shiny red ball.
We haven't given up on the season yet, but we're barreling towards it. 7-16. How did we ever win 7?
It's a miracle.
It is the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Petro, Seaboldt, Collier with you. A lot coming your way today. We will talk some Royals baseball. We will talk to our friend Dale Blake, who is the chairman of the Trolley Run, near and dear to my heart, the major fundraiser for CCVI, Children's Center for the Visually Impaired. Get signed up. It's this weekend. We'll give you some details with Dale later on. Frank Bowl will be with us. You know, he's the godfather of Kansas City sports.
Yes.
He's making notes as we speak.
He is.
Pick up laundry on way home.
He's back there with his consigliere.
Make sure home by 5 or else. You know, just saw him just
Get
looking over his shoulder there.
For Princess.
Sam McDowell will be here in the 4 o'clock hour. You know, he's the columnist for the Kansas City Star is what he is, Kurtis.
Yes, and once again, we have a good guest on an important day.
Okay.
We've had a pretty good run of that.
Kurtis has spoken.
I have spoken.
You hath spoken. We have Eric Bossy coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Today is the last day for players to submit to the portal. Eric Bossy from, now I'm drawing a blank. I don't want to get the wrong. He's 24/7, right? He does a great job.
Yeah.
Eric, I'm 99% sure on that. But college basketball recruiting guru.
Yes.
Based here locally. He is their editor, I believe, or director of recruiting.
Correct.
What's the title?
National Basketball Director.
And he does a fantastic job. Knows everything about every recruit and everything going on in the world of high school and college basketball. So we'll talk to Eric Bossy. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. So I think it's tonight at midnight, we believe Eastern time, midnight, that you can get into the portal. And then it's out there to where you can kind of commit whenever.
Yeah.
We're down to 13 of the top 100 that have not committed.
Correct.
You know, we thought this was a good time because the bulk of the top players have committed. And what happens is, while there's not a deadline, teams start to go, all right, look, we got to finish our roster off. Like, we got 500,000 for you. We got $1 million for you. We got $4 million, whatever the numbers are these days for whatever caliber of player we're talking about. It's now take it or leave it, because if you don't take it, I'm giving it over here.
Yeah.
So the roster should start coming together fairly quickly. But to give you an idea, I believe Kansas right now has only 2 commitments in the portal, right? And they're holding a spot for Stokes, the number 1 player in the country amongst the high school recruits. Mm-hmm. So they still need 5 players.
Yeah.
And they're not going to sit around waiting and waiting and waiting. At some point, they're going to be like, look, who's going to take this? Because I got to start figuring out how this team's going to come together. So this is a critical moment. This will be it. But once today goes by, you know everybody who's available. And then the teams can really ready their take it or leave it offers. You know who's staying, because nobody else from your roster can put their name in. And then you know where it is. So we're going to talk to Eric Bossy about that coming up in the 5 o'clock hour.
Just a note, of the 17 that haven't committed, 3... A lot of those are in the top. 3 of the top are in the top 5 overall. 4 are in the top 7, and 5 are in the top 9. So from 10 on down to 100, that only leaves 8 more players. So they're looking to fill their roster. There aren't that many players from 10 to 100 to do that with.
Yeah. So it's a big time.
Yes.
It's a big time, and I think things are going to be fast and furious moving forward. We'll check in on his thoughts on how the locals are doing to this point. We'll check in on Stokes, where he's going to land, the Mizzou recruiting class, which has been a great one so far for Dennis Gates and the Tigers. That's coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Let's start. We'll talk, as we always say, KU, K-State, Missouri, Chiefs, Royals, Sporting. Always a topic here in the program. We've already got Jim grabbing the leadoff spot today at 913-3810810. Hit me up on the Twitter. It's at Soren Petro, SOREN-PETRO. Let's start with a little Royals baseball. We're going to talk some draft as well. So, Jim, I know you want to talk some draft. We'll get into the wide receivers coming up here in a minute. But let's talk a little Royals baseball. They, again, don't hit until basically it's too late. some of their best offensive outputs, like they were down, 10-0 before they bothered to score in that 13-4 game?
Something like that, yeah.
Or was it even worse? That it had gotten even worse? I know it was 10-0 at one point.
Yeah.
And that Yankee game, which is something that Danny talked about on Friday, and he said, the Tiger game where they came back, took the lead and lost, he goes, listen, I'll give them credit. Once they got going, they kept going and drove all the way to the lead. Then the pitching blew it. He said, but getting some runs when you're woefully beaten already is kind of irrelevant. I mean, the job of the pitchers that are in there are to pump strikes and get the game over with. Don't be walking guys and leaving us all standing around here. This game is over. You give up a run or two, we don't care. It's time to get this thing over and not be burning through the bullpen because you're throwing 40 pitches to try to strike everybody out. Let's get this thing done. And so there is an element of where it does get easier to hit. We can talk about what they did with the bullpen, with Matt Quatraro, and it did not work. John Schreiber did not get it done. That is a fact. But that is not the story of this game. You're burying the lead. All right, now I'm going to tell you, the longer it goes like this, yes, the more Matt Quatraro's name starts to become something that you can discuss, but it's not a possibility right now. One game last night isn't it, and they didn't lose the game because John Schreiber came into the game. They lost the game because they can't hit. They can't score runs. You don't get to a 1-1 game in extra innings and go, the problem is the managerial wand of the bullpen. Let me tell you, the bullpen is, for the most part, a pre-programmed response. It's not about who looks good out in the pen. Okay, it is. This is the order of guys we're going to go to. This is how long they're going to go. And that's the way it's going to work. All right? Now, I'll tell you where, if you want to start talking about Matt Quatraro, and we did this a little bit yesterday about, let's talk about the things that you can actually critique Matt Quatraro on, that we can actually question Matt Quatraro about. One of them is, when do you make a change if you don't start hitting? We're far enough in, and this is an exact repeat of last year. They're actually slightly better than they were last year, but they were expected to be significantly better this year. And instead, they're only slightly better this year. And so the question needs to be asked of both Matt Quatraro and J.J. Piccolo. They may not give us a straight answer, but the question we need to know is, when do you get to the point that you have to make a change? And it's not at the end of the year. Let me be clear. This is a results business. This is a get-it-right business. And this is the second consecutive year that you have what we believe, and certainly the Royals organization believes, is a talented hitting group, and they're not hitting. Right? And you'd be like, well, they got a lot of guys on base. I know. That, you know what that means? Singles. Hitting is hitting the ball hard. Hitting is working counts. Hitting is walking. They're walking, but they're looking at strikes. I mean, we discussed this earlier today. Well, how did you put it? And I said, I disagree. What was the...
I said it often looks like their approach looks like a team that doesn't have a hitting coach.
Doesn't have a hitting coach or doesn't have a plan.
Doesn't really have a plan going up there.
And my rebuttal, and both one or either one could be true. I don't know. Neither one of them is good. But my rebuttal is, I actually think they have a plan. I think the plan just sucks. Right. It sucks for this group of hitters, apparently. The plan, they're all taking pitches. None of the chase rate's good. Right? When they do actually swing, they're barreling at a high percentage. Right? But that's based upon how many times you swing. The problem is they're seeing a ton of fastballs. There's been a number of tweets out there today about the rate at which they see fastballs, and they're watching them. They're just watching everything. The plan seems to be to go up there and hope to get ahead in the count, not identify the pitch. Listen, I am, open to, and we've had a number of people on the show that talk about that, hey, the 20, 30 year ago Moneyball, that by the time you're done with high school, you either can or can't see a strike. You are what you are. It's not really true that they do have new technology and new things that they can get more out of hitters on being selective, on reading pitches. Okay, I'm all ears. But it's got to work at some point. That's great. But this to me feels like they're paralyzed. As a group, they're taking more pitches, they're drawing more walks. That's a good thing. But at the expense of not hitting the cookies. All right? And even when they get on base, it appears that the pitcher can just go, well, I'll dial it up. Here we go. You got on base. Okay, you got me, but now I'm going to get you. And they can't bring anybody home. And so, look, we can talk through what the symptoms are. Well, They're not swinging at the strikes. Well, yeah, they're not chasing, but they're not identifying this. Or go on and on and on. Fine. I'll listen to all of them. And that's a great conversation to have if you're sitting in the Royals hitting coach meeting. Wonderful. But if you're sitting at the general manager and very soon the ownership level, okay, it's like, I don't come down and I own UPS. I don't pack the trucks. I pay people to know how to pack the trucks, right? If we're not getting the orders or we're not delivering the orders, that's up here on the management level. What are you people doing? Don't take me down. I'm not going down and grabbing a box with you guys. We're paying people to do that. What are we paying the hitting coaches to do if we can't hit? And so we've reached a point to where if J.J. Piccolo is the human shield in front of Alex Zumwalt, or Matt Quatrero is the human shield in front of Alex Zumwalt, then we will start to talk about their jobs. And I think that's what needs to happen in this organization. They may all believe in Alex Zumwalt's ability to be a great hitting instructor. Great, reassign him, put him somewhere. But at the very least, set a date. And that's why I've asked. For 2 weeks, I asked everybody. Nobody wants to do it, but then again, nobody in the media is really their job. But the Royals had better have had an answer. How long before you get concerned? And then how long before you make a move? And those are dates that should have been written on the calendar, and we have blown through the concern level, I hope.
Yeah.
And now we're staring down the when to make a move date. And I get you want to wait 40 games. Your season may be over. I mean, you're more than halfway there, and this is what we talked about.
Maybe over at 30 games.
40 games, Memorial Day. These are traditional, June 1. These are traditional dates on the calendar that teams like to say, okay, you got to wait till then to know what you got. To which I've said, I agree with the amendment that if it gets so bad that by the time you reach that date, it's still going to suck, then it's okay to go ahead and make a move. They're not going to be a good offensive team at the 40-game mark.
No.
They can't dig out of the hole that's here. Now, maybe you say, hey, until what's red hot? Six runs a game? If they average 6 runs a game for 17 games, okay, they can still be a good team. They have 100 more runs in them over the next, what did I say, 17 games?
Mm-hmm.
Great. All right, so you're not there yet. But when you get to the point to where you can't get to what was the minimum requirement of runs, realistically, without saying, well, if we get 10 runs a night every night, when you get to that point, you have not set the standard for what your organization is, and you're just making excuses for a friend. Okay? And friends are great. We all love them. But I got lots of friends that I ain't ever going to work with. Never. Never. Do you hear me, Kirk? I actually would work with Kirk, but
the dingo getting hit with strays.
I thought it'd be fun to say him. I want to say somebody you absolutely would work with.
Well, there wasn't any truth to it.
As opposed to somebody, like
who might go, ooh, yeah,
like Kyle.
Yeah.
But look, so last night, I get it. Everybody wants to talk. The bullpen is not the riddle that you think it is, and it is not the end all be all of what the manager does.
Deck chairs on the Titanic.
Yeah, I mean that's like the problem is not scoring runs, and the more to me, that's the critical problem. That was the problem last year. It's the problem this year. They have invested in it. They have paid Michael Garcia. They have paid Bobby Witt. They have paid Vinny Pasquantino. All right, they have paid Salvador Perez. They have invested draft picks in Jack Caglione and Carter Jensen. They are up. They are here. It's time to go. They have acquired Isaac Collins in a trade. That's the problem. And the more you talk about the fact that John Schreiber, listen, if you want to say, let's talk about the bullpen. Yeah, I mean, the bullpen to me is a bigger issue on J.J. Piccolo's plate than it is Matt Quatrero's plate. There are 13 pitchers. And starters don't go 8 every night anymore. So they're all going to pitch. In fact, more than that's going to pitch. You need 3 or 4 more relievers down in Omaha that you can bring up as you go through doubleheaders and have tough days or rainouts or what have you. And then you need another starter or two. And historically, playoff teams have needed 8 different guys to start a Major League season. So the idea that, the bullpen that Matt Contreras, when he goes to John Schreiber, he's got to get people out. Like, you can't carry 3 guys that we're not going to. And as far as the Daniel Lynch is the answer, Daniel Lynch looked great 2 years ago. And the Royals were terrified. In fact, they were so terrified they didn't even consider putting him in a playoff game. That tells you what they think of Daniel Lynch. Now, I think he's grown beyond that because he does have velocity, but he got knocked around in a game earlier this year too. Look, they got issues. There's no doubt about it. And there's some splaining that needs to be done. And if John Sherman has a weekly check-in with J.J. Piccolo, everything we've talked about, I'm sure, is being discussed. And J.J. Piccolo is giving answers. But at some point, the fans, and it's growing. There are friends of mine that I'm about ready to what can I do? When I get text every day going, fire this guy. Mm-hmm. Do I mute it, or do I have to just, what can I do? I know what I can do on Twitter. What do I do on texting?
Yeah,
is there a button? I'm asking, seriously.
Well, I don't know.
Is there a mute
you
button?
You could probably mute.
Is there a ban button?
Yeah. You could probably mute a contact. I'm sure there is.
Because it's coming to a couple of you jackasses out there. I don't need every night a text from you.
I tell you what you do.
I know where you weigh in now.
Yeah, your vote has been logged. Has been recorded.
And don't send me the text as 5 one-word texts. Okay? Enough.
Yes, that's not cute. No one finds that funny.
No, it's kind of my trick. It's what I do when I want to get somebody's attention. So it annoys me when it's played back at me. You send the thing and I thought of this, and I thought of this, and I thought of this. Just want to make sure it buzzes 5 times so you know. I'm trying to get an answer here. You're not getting one from me on this.
Right.
The Royals are on mute. I'm on episode 15, season 1 of The Pit. We're trying to figure some things out here in the season finale of episode 1.
A few things, and I'll kind of go in various orders. By the way, last night, you know how one of my things is when something's going wrong, like I don't want superfluous things to happen at the end of the game that spoil a good stat. Mm-hmm. Well, that happened last night because the meaningless 3 runs in the bottom of the 12th prevented the Royals from becoming just the 5th team in the DH era to have 2 runs or fewer in 14 of their first 26 games. The other 4, the 24 White Sox, 121 losses, 03 Tigers, 119 losses, 88 Orioles, 0-21 start, and for some reason the 81 Tigers, who actually were pretty good that year, but they were about to join the pantheon of 3 legendary awful teams just by giving up. Of course, then they scored 3 runs and spoiled the whole thing.
Yeah.
As far as that, the approach, we kind of joked about this a bit earlier, but it really does seem like that. When you take pitches, the idea of taking pitches is to take bad pitches or spit on bad pitches until you get a pitch you can hit and then you drive it. This team takes pitches they can hit and then hacks at pitches they can't hit, which is the complete opposite of what the idea. You've lost the idea. That's why understanding what you need to do this. Well, understanding why you need to do this, that is important. And it seems like they know to take pitches, but they don't seem to know what the idea behind it is and how to execute that. It has to be done properly. And as far as Zumwalt, we've discussed how there's way too much, I think, heat at the feet of Matt Quatraro. But one of the things fans are mad about is that he won't fire his hitting coach. And if he were to do that, one, it would be, I think, the right move for the team, regardless of what public perception of it would be. It's the right move. 2, it would help him in the public perception because I think he'd get rid of some of the people. Okay, well, at least he's making a move. It takes some of the heat off of him. And because the idea that he's the Zumwalt would be the shield that protects him from the bullets. Well, that's not happening anymore because people are starting to fire these shots at Matt Quatraro for not taking care of that. So two reasons why they should make that move, and it kind of puzzles me that they haven't to this point. And every day that these struggles continue, and they continue to just go on about their business as if it's normal, it's going to become more puzzling.
Yeah, and this is also magnified by the fact that Kevin Seitzer was available and they didn't go for him. Now I know the Mariners aren't tearing the cover off the ball this year, but they ended up being a good hitting team last year. And Kevin Seitzer's had a great track record everywhere he's gone.
Yeah.
Including turning what was about to be a failed disaster of a number 2 overall pick into a Royals Hall of Famer in Alex Gordon.
Yep.
And Alex Gordon gets the most credit. He did the work. But the turnaround happened with Kevin Seitzer being the guy working with him.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you need. And the Atlanta Braves were one of the best hitting teams in baseball, but the metrics that they have, which are wonky at best to measure a hitting coach's value, he grades very, very well.
Yeah.
And so they did not go down that road at a time that they were changing everybody under him. So that is what it does magnify. It's why there cannot be like a 2-year grace period now where they're at.
Nope.
Decisions need to be made as to what it is. Last year, you changed everything under that guy. And to your point about Matt Quatraro, if you don't make a move there, if you believe in Alex Zumwalt more than Matt Quatraro, then by all means press forward. But your fans are going to create a toxic environment, despite what Kurtis and eventually Kurtis and I will have to join the chorus as well when it gets to a point that it's like, okay, everybody's imploding. I go back to what Tony Muser said to me. I sat in his office 2 weeks before he's going to be fired. And he said to me, Pat, I'm going to get fired. It's going to happen. And frankly, it needs to happen. He said, I'm not going to quit. I'll never quit on anything I ever started. I'm going to work as hard as I can every day until then. But this isn't going to work. This mix of players isn't going to work. And if they fire me, they can at least blame everything on me, and then everybody else gets a fresh start. All right? And you're going to get there with Matt Quatraro. Like, the Royals didn't stink because Tony Muser couldn't manage. He went on to be the bench coach for World Championships of the San Francisco Giants, sitting next to Bruce Bochy. Okay? So he knew baseball. Maybe he was overmatched in being a manager and his best as a lieutenant. I don't know. But he knew baseball, but he also knew this clubhouse, this organization needs a reset. And this is the only way you can do it. And you're going to get there with Matt Quatraro, a guy who you have seen can manage small market baseball all the way to the playoffs and through a playoff series win. You're going to have to pick at some point. And listen, you may fire Alex Zumwalt. This thing doesn't turn around this year at all, and you come in with some ridiculous 67 and 95 record, and then you come out slow next year, and you got to blow up Quatraro too. Okay? I mean, that's baseball. I don't think that's going to be the case. I still think there's more talent than this. I think they need to figure out some bullpen stuff. They need some of their farm system to start coming up and helping more. I mean, it's great that Carter Jensen and Jack Caglione are here, but who from their farm system is pitching for them other than Noah Cameron right now? You got Chris Bubich and Noah Cameron in the rotation. Who in the bullpen was their guy? Daniel Lynch in middle relief?
Yeah. They keep running new guys in. It's hard to keep track of whether or not you see someone pop up and be like, where did he come from?
Well, Strom, I mean,
was,
did,
and then
but
went away.
They've been brought back. So I'm going to say Strom, no. Schreiber, no. Mears, no. Lynch, yes. Lang, no. Morgan, no, right? Look up his background. Falter, no. Mason Black, no.
No, he
Lucas
was
Erceg,
he
no.
was with Cleveland for several years.
Yeah,
and
so
then the Cubs coming here.
That's the next thing is like, and I will remain patient because J.J. Piccolo's only had 3 drafts. This will be his 4th draft coming up, and Bridges has only had 2. So it is tough. You don't just turn those guys around, but we're going to start talking about firing people, and you're going to get to that if this thing doesn't get turned around. So at some point, you're going to have to. And I'll tell you the other thing is, at some point that clubhouse has got to know people will lose their jobs if you don't get this done.
Right.
Because there is the hitting issue. There is I think a bullpen issue, but there's also the, Keystone Cops defense they were playing out there in New York. That's a problem as well. And they can't figure out how to run the GD bases.
Two bad ones last night, including Lane Thomas. What was he thinking at third base? I'm going to take off running. They briefly, we talked about it being 18-17 outs on the bases to home runs. They tied that They tied the score with
With
Caglione's
Caglione's
bomb,
homer.
and then immediately gave up 2 the other direction. And so now it's 20-18. They remain one of only 2 teams to have more outs on the bases than they have home runs. And the last one, the one from Thomas, you're like, what? If that happens in a kid's baseball game,
Yes.
you're sitting little Timmy down to go, we don't do that.
Yeah. 913-3-810-810. We'll take some phone calls when we come back. 913-3-810-810. You're in the program.
The program with Soren Petro.
Did you Google it?
I did.
What does it say?
The testicles.
Weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Right? Do you have a famous, I don't know, quarterback maybe, autographed jersey? You got it in the closet? Maybe you got, some World Cup memorabilia you're going to be looking forward to getting a hold of? Listen, don't have it in some bag in a closet. Display it beautifully. Art and Frame Warehouse, they specialize in sports memorabilia. They're Kansas City's best when it comes to framing anything. So if you got graduation photos or wedding pictures, whatever you want framed, displayed, artwork, mirrors, they frame better than anybody in Kansas City. But it's a very unique thing when it comes to framing that sports memorabilia. Number one, you don't want it damaged. You want it protected. That's what Art and Frame does, whether it's the UV glass to make sure that the sun isn't damaging it, whether it's how they place the jersey. If you've got an autographed jersey, some people will pin it down. They're basically poking holes in the jersey. If you ever one day want to sell it and the collector looks at it, that'll grade it down, right? Protect your wonderful sports memorabilia, your wonderful treasures, and have it displayed beautifully all at the same time. That's what Michael and his great staff at Art and Frame Warehouse have been doing for more than 25 years. It's the only place I'll take my sports memorabilia. They're incredible. Plus, they deliver and they install, and everything comes with a lifetime guarantee. They buy in bulk. That keeps their prices down. So you get warehouse prices, but gallery quality when it comes to the framing. Don't mess around. Go to the best. Mention 810. You can even score major discounts on all your sports memorabilia framing. Visit framekc.com. That's framekc.com, or see them in person at 92nd and Metcalf. They're right there on the west side. Again, online, it's framekc.com. Art and Frame Warehouse, Kansas City's best when it comes to protecting your collection.
There's nothing more meaningful you can do for yourself, your family, and friends than finally getting rid of that pain so they can enjoy time with you again, especially heading into vacation season. QC Kinetics takes care of your pain in the office, and you go right on with your day. That easy. So if you say yes to any of these questions, you are the kind of patient QC Kinetics regenerative treatments help every day. 1, I have consistent joint pain on my knees, hips, shoulders, or back. 2, the pain keeps me from getting a good night's sleep. 3, I'm missing work or saying no to activities that I enjoy. 4, I don't want surgery and a long recovery. Moment of truth. Did you answer yes to any of those statements? Today could be your day to turn the corner and finally get relief. QC Kinetics treatments are easy, done in the office, and you go about your day. The consultation's free, so don't wait. Call today, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics.
Whether you're looking for a Bronco, an Explorer, an F-150, or even a commercial vehicle, Robside Ford has the selection.
That's right, Kevin. We've got it all. And we've got the lowest prices in Kansas City. No gimmicks, just great deals on every new Ford.
And it's not just inventory, it's how you do business. Robside Ford makes it very simple.
We do it different on purpose. Non-commissioned sales team, upfront transparent pricing, top dollar trade-in values, and a process that's actually easy.
You've even got the reputation.
All right, welcome back. You're in the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Let's go to the lines. Jim, you're in the program. What's going on, Jim?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call.
You bet.
I'm going to talk about the draft, but on the Royals, let's bookmark last night's game because they come back. They get swept in New York. They come back home. They had 11 hits in the first 7 innings, plus 2 walks. You had 13 base runners in 7 innings, and yet somehow you figure out a way to lose an extra innings. 13 base runners in 7 innings, and they only had 1 run.
Through 9 innings, they had 11 hits, one of them a homer, and 4 walks, and scored 1 run.
Yeah.
That's damn near impossible.
Exactly. Let's bookmark it because a team can either – that's a gut punch, okay?
Yeah.
And they're either going to go one way or the other, and I know they're kind of heading the wrong direction. But let's bookmark last night because they might – I see them hitting a little better I know they didn't do much in New York, but I see them hitting a little better over the last 5 or 6 games. In particular, it seems like Vinny's waking up.
Yeah, that helps.
Hey, Soren, NFL draft, wide receivers. I hear a lot of talk about the Chiefs and Jordan Tyson. For me, Jordan Tyson at the number 9 would be the biggest gamble in the entire draft. He's been hurt each of the last 3 seasons. There are times in the life of an NFL franchise when you should roll the dice. I don't think the Chiefs need to do that because Patrick Mahomes has proven if you give him competence, he doesn't need all pros, but you give him reasonable weapons, he'll win you a Super Bowl. And so for me, there's been a lot of talk over the last week or so about the Chiefs because I think there's going to be, Tate, Carnell Tate or Tyson or Mekhi Lemon will all be there at 9. I think I would wait on a wide receiver. I would take Carnell Tate at number 9 in a heartbeat because I think he's a CeeDee Lamb clone. Same height, same weight, same speed. And I know he was a little slower in the 40, but anyway, yeah, I can't. And so when you guys were doing your mock draft last week, I was screaming at the radio and I gave you a D.
Well, Jim, thank you.
Real quick, sir. And I see the upside with Jordan Tyson. But you can't overlook that injury. It's a huge gamble. And if the Chiefs had a stacked roster and all they needed was a wide receiver, go ahead and take that guy because it could really – the gamble could really pay off. But I just think he's too big of a gamble. And I'll let you go on this one. If I told you that Kenyon Sadiq would be an All-Pro in his second year, would you take him at 9 even though he's a tight end?
I would be interested in him more if I knew that, if I had a crystal ball and I knew that, yes. But, he had a drop issue. He wasn't very productive as far as talking about taking a guy at 9. His productivity is nowhere near it, His per-game productivity is nowhere near it. He's the opposite of Kenyon Sadiq. He was out there and still didn't produce.
No, I completely – if they go anyway, I'm fascinated by Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end. I'm fascinated by him, but I don't think he's going to. I don't think they're going to take him at 9. I don't think he'll be there at 29. So
all right, we'll see what happens, Jim. Go ahead.
And one last prediction: Brett Veach will trade up from the number 29 pick and go grab somebody at about 22 that he wants.
Okay.
So.
He talked like he was open to moving up or down in either spot for sure. I'm going to let you go, Jim. Thank you for the call.
The one thing that makes me leery about Sadiq is when people talk about him and then they say, well, they got to find a replacement for Travis Kelce. That's when I go,
well, you got to find a replacement for Rashee Rice because he ain't going to be around the next year either.
Just because just because the offense has largely gone through Travis Kelce the last 10 years doesn't mean it has to go through the tight end.
The other thing that I would bristle on just a little bit is when you're like, well, Patrick Mahomes has proven he can win a Super Bowl with ordinary talent. Yes, he has. He's also proven he can win a Super Bowl with extraordinary talent, like when he had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce at his best. And I'm going to tell you, I guarantee you, that team was more fun for Patrick Mahomes to play for than it was where he's got to grind out 3 yards at a time. Yeah. And eventually, that's what the Patriots did for the last 10 years was, we'll keep our defense strong, we'll grind it out, Tom will make it work. And eventually Tom went, oh, I'm going to Tampa. They got weapons. I can go down there and really make it happen. I don't think you want to keep telling Pat, you keep overcoming our shortcomings. We saw Aaron Rodgers bitch in Green Bay about what they were doing, never drafting a wide receiver in the first round. And we've seen the Chiefs be all ears about okay, Pat had a tough Super Bowl because we didn't block. And after they didn't block against the Bucs, they traded for Orlando Pace, signed Joe Thuney, and drafted Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. They tend to react quickly and in a big way when it's not what Pat needs. And I think it's clear last year he did not have the weaponry.
And the one team that won the Super Bowl that was able to put distance between teams late was that 19 team. They won all 3 postseason games by 10 points. The last 2 championship seasons, even 24, they had to keep winning by 3 points almost every single week.
Tom, you're in the program. What's going on, Tom?
Okay, well, I would say more about Seaboldt, but honestly, he should have been fired last year. So I feel like me calling in and complaining about Seaboldt when he basically got failed upward in the offseason and promoted in kind of a way, I don't know. I will say, though, I do think that JJ needs to get a little bit more heat on this. Not that Frazier would have been the answer, but I think Frazier signed for like $1 million over the offseason, and we signed India or extended India or picked up his option for another $8 million. And not to say that India is the reason we're not good, but he sure as heck isn't the positive light on this and helping either. So I don't know. And yeah, the bullpen has some issues, but they're not hitting, and I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And listen, all the moves on offense, and Tom, you bring up India, and I think that's a good one. I mentioned some of the other moves that they've made and decisions to pay people. They've decided on $8 million for Jonathan India. He's again battling injuries, already on the IL. And so, yeah, that's an issue. Tyler, you're in the program. What's going on, Tyler?
Hey, Soren. Hey, Kurtis. I think everyone's trying to figure out, pointing the fingers on who to blame for the season. But for me, this has just been so surprising. I'm left with the question of what did we miss? I don't think there was anyone who was trying to pump the brakes in spring training that, hey, this team just doesn't have it. They're going to be under 500 or the worst in baseball. Even Fangraphs, who is historically pessimistic about the Royals, projected them to be 500.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, and the betting line was 81.5, 82.5. It kind of started growing. I heard some people getting 83.5. I got 82.5. I think was the number that I got. So to your point, what did we miss? I think we did miss the bullpen being an issue. There are 2 blown saves by Urseg, 1 by Carlos Estevez, just those 3 games. Not that you can expect everybody to be 100%, but if we just turn those 3 games around, now you're at 10-13, and it seems a lot more manageable, right? And then there's been some other problems in the bullpen. John Schreiber, I think, does he have a blown save as well? I know he had an inning where he gave it up in a tie game. So if we fix the bullpen, the hitting is not corrected, but the record is a lot closer to where you're like, okay, we're struggling, but we can get this turned around. But at 7-16, you're woefully below 333. I mean, you're losing more than 2 out of every 3. And now you're starting to talk about the season being lost, and you haven't even gotten to May yet. And those are the worst. I remember even going back, like, I don't know, was it 1990 where they had a horrible, going back to like my childhood, like 89 was a 90-plus win team, and then they made some moves. And you're like, okay, they're going to be good. They came out and just had an awful April. And then the rest of the year played pretty good, but the April had killed them. Yeah. And that's what it feels like is happening right here.
Same thing in 92. Our friend Joel Penfield, who you hear on with the Zone, posted this. Since last Sunday, the Royals have been tied or have had the lead in the 7th inning or later 6 times. They've lost all of those games.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, and Soren, I hate to admit it, but you were right about Urseg. I thought, last year's lack of swing and miss, that's probably just kind of a fluke, but apparently it was a sign of things to come.
Yeah.
Because this year just doesn't have it. But
it hasn't, and I think that's one of the things. And Tyler, thanks for the call. I'm going to let you go. I appreciate the call. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you short there, but good stuff. I mean, Urseg's better than what he's shown of late. I think he's probably still the best option to close for now, but he's got to fix. I mean, I think it's mental on that front. He's better than this, but he's not a dominant reliever. He's far, far, far from Wade Davis. Okay, so we'll see what they can do.
Didn't strike anybody out anymore.
No. Can't get the swing and miss. 913-810-810. You're in the program. Welcome back here in the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Soren, Petro with you. Time to talk about a great event in Kansas City, certainly one that's near and dear to my heart, to my family's heart. We are joined right now by the chair of the trolley run. Dale Blake is with us. Dale, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Hey, it's always so good to visit with you, Soren.
Well,
appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. And we appreciate you, and we appreciate everybody that is working so hard on the trolley run. It's coming up Sunday, April 26th, 7:30 a.m. People can get signed up at trolleyrun.org. It's one of the, I think it's, I don't know, do we have numbers? It's got to be one of the most popular runs out there. Maybe not for like the Uber competitor, you know, but everybody who just likes to get out and enjoy and maybe get a group together. You know, I've never met anyone who did it, like, frankly, who did it once. Usually if you do it once, you're going to do it again.
Right.
You know?
Well, it's our 38th annual race, which makes it one of the oldest road races here in Kansas City. And actually, there is a little bit of Uber competitor availability on this race. There is some prize money for first, second, and third place.
Wow.
Yeah, I think around $1,500 and $1,000 and $500, I think, is, you know, first, second, third overall. So, yeah, there is a place in this race for everyone.
And it benefits, like I said, something that's near and dear to my heart, Children's Center for the Visually Impaired, CCVI. I mean, this is their main fundraiser, right? Tell everybody about what CCVI does.
So CCVI, Children's Center for the Visually Impaired, they've been around for over 75 years here in Kansas City. And annually, about 350 families benefit from CCVI services every year. And that includes kids from birth all the way up until the age of 21. They'll work with infants and toddlers in their home with their parents, pre-K to high school kids and beyond are partnering with their school districts and so forth. And, you know, importantly on this too, over half of the students that are involved with CCVI, half of the families, they live below the poverty line. And these families are not turned away. And it's events like the trolley run that make that possible, to not be turning families away.
Well, and I can tell you that there is no more important time, being the father of a blind daughter, there is no more important time in a person's life that is visually impaired than when they're a child. I mean, look, we deal with other great organizations like Alpha Point, who does a lot of stuff for folks that become visually impaired later in life, and it's difficult. I'm going to tell you, I mean, it is a challenge to try to – it's a challenge at any time. Let's be clear about that.
Right.
Your point about CCVI and helping the families, you know, that don't have the resources to do it is I can't stress how important that is. And, you know, like I said, we've seen it from, you know, my daughter is now in college, and so I've, you know, got a young adult, and we've seen all the different phases of childhood and everything. And I can tell you that at every phase that she has had success, it all points back to where it started, which was the Children's Center for the Visually Impaired. And, you know, I stress this all the time, Dale, to people, you know, if you give them the resources they need, right? If you help children that are visually impaired and you equip them the way CCVI does, they will be somebody who contributes to society and not, you know, basically, pulls from society. In other words, there's more than a 70% unemployment rate for visually impaired people. But if they know Braille, if they've been equipped and you know, been given the life skills that they need, there's more than an 80+% employment rate. So you're talking about completely turning upside down, taking
Right.
people that could be, you know, going out, earning a life, supporting themselves, you know, earning a living, supporting themselves, you know, and contributing to society, paying into the system, paying taxes. The difference is this is where it begins, is with CCVI. And you know, I'm going to be blunt. They need money to do it, right? They need to be able to pay professionals.
Exactly.
And I'm going to stress as well, we're talking about professionals that generally are and it drives me crazy. I won't get on my soapbox on some things, but they're not doing this to get rich, right? They have some of the more difficult jobs that are out there, and they generally, you know, are not paid as much as some people who have a lot easier jobs, but they do it because there's a passion for it. And unfortunately, our system takes advantage of those people. But these people at CCVI are equipping young people, young children, with the ability to be successful in life. And I cannot stress how much of my daughter's success, which I think she's done fantastic, it all started with CCVI.
Well, and your daughter is an incredible story. I mean, the support that your daughter got from home with you and your wife, too, let's not discount that. But CCVI, of course, has that role. And, there's another data point out there that 85% of what a child learns before the age of 5 is through sight, which makes intervention critically important for their educational success. So by learning the Braille, learning how to operate in our world early on, as you say, it's just a 180. You're either 70% unemployed or 85% employed because of what they learn at CCVI.
Yeah, I can't. I remember when my daughter went there. Like, she went there. My daughter has a condition that was degenerative, so she had better vision the younger she was, as opposed to where she is now. And listen, I'll be blunt. We had a school district tell us she doesn't need to learn Braille. And my wife said to me, "That's ridiculous. Like, this is going to get worse. We're going to do this." And we sent our daughter. Our school district refused to pay, and so we sent our daughter to CCVI. And my wife and I'm happy to admit, one of the biggest losses of my marital career is my wife being, "No, this is what we're doing. This is what's right." And she was 100% correct. And, I watched my daughter go down there, and I knew it right away because I watched her at CCVI, and I watched her mind just open up, and I watched her learn Braille and learn cane skills and everything. And it really is the biggest difference. I cannot stress how important this is. And the trolley run is the biggest. I am right about that. Is that correct? That it is the biggest fundraiser for CCVI?
It is. Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah. So you can run, you can walk, you can jog, but if you do it, it's going to a great cause. I mean, one of the things we always did, we always had a T-shirt when our daughter was there that had Brookie's Cookies was our team name, and so a lot of people have their groups and their shirts. I mean, and it's such a great community run for certainly everybody in the visually impaired community, but also just the community in general. Like, that whole run, all the people that live along the path coming out and waving, and it's one of the best experiences of my life.
It really is. I mean, the neighborhood, it's a beautiful area to run, because you're running down Waldo at Brookside to the plaza. And, I think I shared with you last year too. I mean, there's a few people that come out with bacon to give you, so if you're needing a bacon aid station along the way, this is your race. We'll take care of you. It's just a beautiful race. And, Soren, it was actually my first road race that I did, after I started running back in '99, and it's just the environment was so amazing, and to know that you're doing something, for the kids too, it's the cherry on top of everything. You're doing something good for yourself, but really you're doing it for the kids too. And so I've been telling my friends, do it for yourself, do it for the kids.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and it helps your community. You are basically, if you want to just talk about you want to be just cheap about it, you're fiscally helping the economy, right? Because you're equipping, there's that, and then by the way, think of the difference in the life of a young person that grows up knowing, hey, I'm like everybody else. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to work. I'm going to have a place to live, all that. I mean, it really is life-changing. There's so many great charities out there, and I encourage people, everyone's got things that have touched their lives. Please get involved, and if you've got the abilities, please give back. If you're looking for one, I'm going to give you one that I cannot stress enough that you are really, really making an impact when you give to CCVI. Which you can do, by the way, go to trolleyrun.org, and you can get all the information. But you really are making an impact with young people and with society and with your own community. And it's all right here in Kansas City at CCVI, which is right downtown.
Exactly right. I mean, it's just such a great investment to make. You can't get a better return.
Yeah,
on your trolley run registration than you just can't get a better return.
No. And you'll have a great time. Whether you're uber competitive, what do we got? First place gets how much again? $1,500?
I think it's 1,500, and second place gets 1,000, third place gets 500. It's going to be a great, just a great opportunity. And I always love, the first time I did it, the folks that won that money, I hit mile 2, and these folks, it's a 4-mile race, so they had gone down, done the 4 miles, won, and then they were heading back my way at that point in time. So it's a lot of fun to see people that might head back up to the car if they're parked up at Waldo. That those are the people that could really move lickety split.
Yeah, and
it's a great.
It is, and you know what? Like you said, you're going from Waldo to Brookside to the Plaza, so you can set up a nice little brunch afterwards. Hang out. You're in a great spot. Plus, it's a great time of year. End of April, almost to May. I've never had the weather be bad. When we're there, we don't get freezing cold temperatures or anything, so it is just a great time. Dale Blake is with us. He is the Trolley Run chair. 38th Trolley Run. You can get more information by going to trolleyrun.org. That's trolleyrun.org. Again, it's Sunday, 7:30 a.m., April 26th. That is when it's going to happen, and you can help out a lot of young people and help out a great organization that, like Dale said, has been helping this community for, what did you say, more than 75 years now?
More than 75 years.
Yep, CCVI, Children's Center for the Visually Impaired. Dale, hey, thanks so much. We appreciate it, and we look forward to the event on the 26th.
Thanks for the time, Soren. Always great fun.
All right, the Chiefs have never picked at number 9. They've taken 2 players at number 29. Name either one. Brought to you by Twin Peaks.
Hour number 2 of the program begins right now. We welcome the godfather of Kansas City sports, one Frank Bowl, stepping to the microphone as we speak. He's brought to you by our friends at Applause Custom Sight and Sound, Kansas City's best when it comes to smart home technology, in-home theaters. You want it all wired perfectly, crafted perfectly. Then go with Applause Custom Sight and Sound. More than 20 years. Locally owned and operated here in Kansas City. Been in my home for more than 20 years.
That's right.
Find them online at applausetheater.com. Frank, you are a veteran. We said Dale Blake in here. You're a veteran of the trolley run.
Yes.
You've had many a trolley run.
Many years, yeah. Definitely. It's awesome. It's just a great event and a lot of fun and for a great cause. So,
yes.
And, of course, it really hit home with you and Brookie and, you, Lynn, Brookie, and Carly, of course, is involved in all this as well.
You, I know, participated at least once while wearing a Brookie's Cookies.
I had a Brookie's Cookies t-shirt.
T-shirt.
I did.
As we had our team. So, yeah, absolutely.
I remember, yeah.
It's a great race for you fatties.
Absolutely.
Because it's downhill.
It's downhill, which we love.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you always have PR, baby.
Yeah.
That's all you think about there if you're a runner. I get a PR.
All you got to worry about
5K.
is stopping, which is
It's
pretty easy to do.
If you want to be, if you want to be competitive, get up front and go. If you just want to walk the walk and help raise money for a great cause, then come on out for that as well. They do a great job, and all the people in Brookside waving and everything. It's fun.
Everybody's
That's
out
cool.
on their front porches or on their front stoops, sitting on their lawns, little hilly lawn, and down there. Yeah, go.
I don't think I have ever done it without pushing a stroller.
No, you're right.
So
you haven't done it since the girls were.
It's been a little while, but I think to the point of where I'm like, really, you're riding? Let's go, kid. With the little one, I was like, yeah, I think it's time.
Yeah.
I'm good, Dad.
It was notable though, that
and my wife goes, she's your daughter. Like, hell yeah, if you'd push me in a stroller right now, hop in.
Carly, it's your turn. You're pushing me this year.
So, yeah, good times.
it was notable. I was listening to you with Dale. And I heard Brookie's Cookies, and I went, wow, that was just like a bolt from the past.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Turquoise that year were the shirt colors, as I recall. So,
That's still her favorite color.
I don't know. I can't remember if we picked that or if they picked. I can't remember. How that worked.
Or is it a different, certain shade of blue now?
I don't know. I don't know who's in charge. I know my wife.
You're not.
I know my wife packed many a race packets.
Yeah.
The volunteers go down there. You get a shirt and you get this and you get that and everything that goes into it. So
And a lot goes into those races. God bless the volunteers and the police have to make sure the roads are blocked and the whole thing. So there's a lot goes into those things, but they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the last thing we'll say about it is, go ahead. Like I said, if you're competitive, get out front and see if you can beat my record.
Really?
Yeah, I still hold the record.
The record?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, one of them. Like a certain age and weight division.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think I had to have been the fastest middle-aged tub of goo ever.
You broke the record that used to be held by
Tub of Goo.
By
T-Goo.
I don't know.
I was going to do a kick spit reference, but I didn't know if it was appropriate.
Ass Dan?
It was held by Ass Dan. R.I.P.
Yeah. After winning the mud eating contest at the Kick Spit Underground Rock Festival, he went immediately to the trolley run, set a record, and fell over dead.
Yeah.
That did not happen. That's a joke.
His He-Man, best He-Man costume did not work.
The He-Man lookalike contest. It was worst He-Man
lookalike. Worst He-Man.
Yeah. So anyway, yes, great event. Trolley run. I encourage everybody to be a part of it.
Sign up and do it.
That's right. So the stadium, Frank, the big hubbub today about, it's not going to Washington Square Park. God. Sam McDowell has tweeted that out. He'll be in a little bit later. And now we're talking about Crown Center. It's going in that, it's the Washington Square Park Crown Center area. But I do think it's quite intriguing because I asked the mayor last week, so, I told him at that time, I said, I've been told that Crown Center is part of the whole plan.
Yeah.
Is it stay standing? Does it get torn down? He said, well, it's part of the equation. Its name is on there for a reason. And so presumably at this press conference they're going to have tomorrow at 10 or
10
11?
a.m.
10 a.m. That'll have John Sherman. It'll have the governor of Missouri,
Mike Keogh.
Mike Keogh. It'll have Mayor Quentin Lucas. And we're going to get the ta-da,
And
here
Ask
it is.
Dan.
No, there will be no Ask Dan, and there will be no mimes on stilts.
I'm done.
And
You might have a
no
few-
one will get a pitchfork.
Yes.
You might have a few protesters too.
They
And
might
that's
have-
That
for
might be,
real.
I'm sure. So anyway, they're going to have the press conference tomorrow
Yep.
at the American Restaurant.
Okay.
So
That's right there. In
I'll
Crown
not be
Center.
getting the check.
No, you will not.
No.
I used to valet at that place.
That's
Yeah.
a great. That's a great restaurant. It's one we forget about a little bit too. That's you know what I mean. There's so many other things pop up.
Legend.
American's been there forever.
Yes.
We've been looking at different topographical
Right.
views.
You got to look. You got to get the drone up because if you don't do Washington Park, then you're pushing it further south, which means what happens to the hotel?
Yeah.
What happens to Crown Center itself?
Yeah.
Then
And I-
what happens to the buildings across? I know the one building's going to get knocked down anyway, but Shirkarty Bacon didn't go anywhere. They aren't.
Well, maybe not in like phase one, but maybe that's part of the plan. Is like, okay, we build the ballpark and then we start building our office towers, and you move into that.
Yeah,
then we
okay,
keep-
yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't know. I mean, I think that's what the devil's in the details, and we'll have to see what those.
It's going to be
those end
really
up being.
interesting to me to see the plan and
But
where
when, there's
where
been this like, it's not going to Washington Square Park. Where's it going? And I got people asking me, so is it going over to the East Village? I'm like, no, it's in that area. It's just a matter of where they're going to put it. What are they going to do at the park? I don't know. Is that going to be some parking lots? Is that going to be where buildings go? Is that going to be? I don't know.
Right, you can't go too far east either. You know what I mean? Because then the Children's Mercy Hospital is sitting up on the hill.
Well, yeah, that's
You know what I mean?
Children's Mercy, as I look at it,
Sits up on the hill to the right there.
It's
to the south.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll go across Pershing, would be my guess.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe Pershing goes away
And
on
the
there. On
deal
that
is
point, I wouldn't think so, but maybe we'll see what they end up doing.
Queen of
with the
Sorrows
streets.
Church is sitting up there on that hill on Pershing there. That's a wedding venue. My God, I can't tell you how many times I've been there for weddings. That place.
You can
is-
tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
A
How
lot,
many?
A lot.
Yeah, but I'm trying to. Where is the church? Because I've been there too.
It
but
sits right up on the hill there on Pershing. It's west of Pershing. Just Pershing right off the street there. It's right there. And then the Hallmark corporate is right next to that, going up Pershing too as well, right?
Right.
I think.
And,
if I'm
but
in the right spot.
and that has a lot of they lease out a lot of office space there.
Yes,
I don't think they use as much of the office space as they used to as a company there. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, and hopefully we're going to get how this is all going to fit together.
Yeah.
And what is going to go away and what's going to stay. But so I get that there's this kind of like, oh, it's not going to Washington Square. Well, no, maybe the actual footprint won't, but that's still part of the plan.
Oh, sure.
I believe, but maybe not.
You don't want to push it too far away either, because then that eliminates the trolley. You know what I mean? I mean, the trolley's there, but you might have to walk an extra couple blocks, which is no big deal. But I mean, that all has to fit in that area, which is, to me, it's going to be it's going to be really interesting for me to see how they're going to do this, where they're going to do. And I know we have these great architecture companies here, and that's not an issue, but it'll be interesting to see what will stay and what will go.
We were talking about that. We thought that wherever it would go in that area, we were looking at kind of maybe just to the east of Crown Center. Could you fit it in between Crown Center and Pershing? Because I would think that you don't want to put it going up the hill. You want to put buildings going up the hill so they have the view
exactly
down into it. I mean, I would think a hotel.
Perfect idea.
Looking down in there, whether that's
corporate
replaces
office,
Crown Center
right, corporate
or
office buildings.
But yeah, I mean, I would think that would be premium. Like, hey, you can see into the ballpark
be
here.
like that little Chicago Cubs type thing where we have big condos or even.
And they didn't do
area.
a very good job on the
Condos.
renditions of the stadium. I mean, John Sherman has pretty much admitted that by saying, well, every time we do something, I say, have a crown and have a water feature. So we know that they're aware that the fans want that to be part of the new stadium. But they did have some cool, okay, here's going to be kind of their own Wrigley rooftops.
Yeah, right.
And I'll tell you, being in San Diego, we were there for Game 2 of the Padres. We did our fantasy league out there last year, and there's an apartment building where people sit out on their patio. There's one guy who sits out there every single game and watches the game, and he's got a Padres flag and
radio in the background, on TV or whatever.
And he's out there and he cheers, and you get mesmerized by looking up like, oh yeah, there he is. And like they did, I think they may have done the wave or something, and he was doing the wave at the time it came around, and I was like,
That's
okay,
pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, so I think listen, they've had an opportunity to watch a lot of really cool ballparks be built. I think this is really, the topography there is really kind of interesting with the hill that's there and what you can do. But I also, aren't you excited, to see when it all does get done? Like, I do think the ballpark's going to open, and they're still going to be working on some of the periphery, like the buildings and stuff.
The infrastructure a little bit.
Yeah, I think we may be 10 years away from...
Oh, from it being totally settled?
Yeah, from all the stuff that's going to go in around the ballpark. Because I know, like, the Padres were open, and then the buildings kept being built. It's now done if you go down there to the gas lamp area on a game day. And so there'll still be things. But I do, the one thing I like, I don't know that we're going to get a fantastic view of downtown, which I think it might disappoint some people, because
I think so too.
The center field usually, from home plate to center, is usually northeast, with the third base line pointing north.
Okay.
So if you think of a ballpark there doing that, the people over at the right field foul pole or around onto the first base side, we'll be able to
short
see
of
the foul pole,
wall.
They might be able to have something, but
yeah.
it's going to be fairly limited. But I think the key is going to be, what do they build up around it that creates some kind of picturesque view around it. But I also love the idea of, like, the crossroads and the boulevard, like.
Yeah.
They're talking about the Mexican restaurants down there. Like, that's a nice spot to get dropped off and grab you some food before the game. Like, I think a lot of the existing businesses should see a bit of a kiss. Yeah, everything, any place you.
Hours.
Any of the. Are you going to name them all?
Sure.
Are you just going to sit here and keep firing out restaurants?
Yeah, sure. So I hope I get somebody to call me up, get a free
What's
meal.
the burger joint? There's a burger joint that's been there forever.
Time Topic.
Yeah. And then I think the Plaza, and I think everything in between the Plaza and Crown Center. There's some great new restaurants. I've got some friends that used to live down in that area, and I haven't been there enough times to tell you this one and this one and this one. I've been to a bunch of ones once, right? Because my friends take me there. But I think all of that will continue to grow up. And I think that's what, downtown, everybody thinks of, a vibrant downtown. It's not just the office buildings. It's not just for us, the Loop.
Right.
It's the whole area. And I think it, has a chance to really help everything from the Loop. I mean, really even the Northland area. Especially if we can, I hope they go ahead and get the trolley
down,
going across the river, which I know was one of the things that the folks in the Northland were really excited about. If they got the ballpark over there, if you can do that anyway, people in the Northland can just get down to those restaurants or that area, hop on the streetcar, and be right over there. I mean, I think there's a lot of possibilities for it to bring a lot of the area down there together and a lot of the businesses down there to benefit as well.
Yeah, sure. And you have the River Market, and the trolley does do that loop and comes up to Union Station right there.
Are you saying you love the parking at the River Market?
Well, you could park down there.
Yeah, 8 of you.
Yeah, well, that's, part of it. Well, it won't be, remember to be at night, too, a little bit.
So. Oh, yeah, because there's nobody down there eating at any of the restaurants at night there. No. I always just cruise right into a parking spot. I never circle and circle.
I've circled a few times.
Yeah.
But you can get on the trolley there and come up. Then in Brookside. Whatever.
The good news
Brookside,
is,
come on down to the ballpark from there, like you said. Yeah, it's good.
Well, it doesn't go clear to the Brookside, does it? The trolley, does it go all the way there?
It's up there, yeah, right?
Streetcar?
It's all the way up to 75th yet? 75th and Warnell? No.
No. Is it really?
Let me think here. I'm probably talking through my...
Yeah, bend over.
Whatever, yeah. One of those places, yeah. But it does move, it's out there in that area.
The good news is, with technology, when you go to park at night, now all the meters are digital, so they screw you for a few bucks even at night. So that's the good news. Now get the app, download the app. Now put your car in. Which plate?
Put your plate.
Looks like
can we settle on a app?
Yeah, right.
You know how many parking apps I have? Every town I go to, I got to download a new parking app.
Yeah.
Looks like here the furthest south it goes is the UMKC campus.
UMKC.
51st
Oh,
and
yeah.
Brookside.
Not even close to
it's
quote unquote
Plaza.
Brookside.
It's a plaza.
Definitely not Waldo.
There are plans.
I think
though, right?
it goes to 180th. Doesn't it go to
It
180th?
goes all the way to
Did it
Spring
go
Hill.
to 199th in Spring Hill at Quivira?
Don't you? If you
All right.
if you catch the
I
express, it
stand corrected.
goes to Oklahoma City, doesn't it?
Goes all the way to Frank's house.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the way out to
Just north.
North
of
Tulsa.
Just north.
What are you, just north of Stillwater?
Northeast Wichita.
Northern Tulsa.
Yeah. So you got that going for you.
All right. I apologize. Mea culpa.
I hope we have the.
Mea maxima.
I hope we get the streetcar from the south end of the 435 loop all the way to the airport at some point.
That would be great. The airport was in the original plan. That was the original plan for the light rail.
Well, it comes by doing it second. Like if we can get across the
Yeah,
river, that's a
gotta-
big one. Building a
that's
bridge
huge,
across
yeah.
the river will be big.
Yeah.
And so I have no doubt that'll be part of this. And Royals ownership is going to pay for it. That's the beautiful thing.
Really?
No chance. None.
Jeez, there's something new. Okay, good. There we go. And then the other thing was talking about the purchase of Town Center itself. The Royals buying or someone buying Town Center, and doing all this stuff with Town Center. So it's going to be it'll be really interesting as it goes. Tomorrow will be very interesting to see exactly where they're putting. Well, we hope they're going to tell us exactly where they're putting it. And then have some nice renderings of what's
You've
going
been told where to put it, haven't you, Frank?
Yeah, many times, yeah.
Probably on this show.
That's where the
2 minutes ago.
that's where the
I was
bend
told.
over. I'll show you.
I
comes
told
from.
it comes all the time. Okay, it's not down to 75th yet. It's getting there.
Well, it's exciting.
It
I'm
is.
and I'm
It is
happy.
exciting.
I'm
It's
happy
fun.
for Kansas City, Missouri, and for Missouri that one of the teams is going to be there. And I've always felt this was the right way to do it. Get one on one side, and one on the other, so that no one state is stuck.
Yep.
Paying the freight on all of it, and
I
share
totally
the cost
agree.
around the metro, and I'm optimistic that it all works really, really well.
Yeah, so am I. It's too bad the Royals right now that has nothing to do with this, but
We're having a nice chat here.
I'm sorry.
We're being positive, upbeat.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring
Can't you just be positive? Is there a reason why
I'm-
you have to always
I'm
report
old.
the negative, Frank?
I'm old.
Is that what it
People
is?
keep telling me to shove it.
Why aren't you Mr. Sunshine?
Yeah.
Yeah, right here. Duckies and bunnies
I can
over
always
here on
tell
this
when-
side of the desk.
I can always tell
Unicorns and rainbows.
when
Yeah.
Soren comes in because I hear down the hall. Do. I'm the funny man.
I'm Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Do.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the so we're gonna get
I
an
think that's
announcement.
great. I
Finally
think
have a
that's
plan.
That's good.
Be great. And as I understand it, they're gonna shut down all the streets and start the construction right at the beginning of the World Cup.
Perfect timing.
So it should work great. They're like, well, we got all the buses in town
Yeah.
then anyway, so let's go for it.
Don't worry. All the sidewalks are closed as you try to get to the Liberty Memorial.
That's not true. We know the mayor's been on here and said he's looking for first quarter of 27.
Yeah, which is fine. Just fine. That's next January.
I left my big cup.
I hear that ice.
Well, I like this.
That's a nice looking
That is a
orange.
nice little mug,
Is that
yeah.
Syracuse
Well,
orange or what's the deal
my kids
there?
know where I went to school.
Yeah, I like that. How's it?
By the way, hang loose. That's what that is.
How's it? It's from Hawaii.
No, it's hang loose.
That's how's it from Hawaii originally.
I know it's from Hawaii, and
How's
it's
it?
hang loose.
Hang loose, blue.
Will you look that up? Look up how's it and hang loose and see if you see
What's
one or
it?
the other.
Again, Frank, shove it.
Yeah, mahalo.
Mahalo. Very good.
Yeah. The now you see you ruined my train of thought. My point was I heard this on the mic
Yes, you heard there. You had the ice. Yeah, there you go.
because I don't have my regular cup that my kids also got me that has a big
That
handle.
big
It's-
one. That
So I had to
thing's
go.
huge.
I left that at someone's house,
That's
and so
really good looking. That's a good looking.
I added the decoration.
That's a nice looking deal. There.
My kids gave me the decoration too, but I chose where to put it.
Nice.
So,
All right. Okay, that's settled.
so
We're looking for some positive news tomorrow. Forward-thinking news.
forward thinking.
Good news. Yes.
Yeah.
Designs, backdrops, amenities.
I've had some people tell me things like it will be an amazing location if executed properly.
Good. That's good. It's a good deal. I believe that totally.
I don't like an if.
I don't either.
No.
Ifs can be
I don't want to hear an if.
big.
If.
Yeah, if executed properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not going to hit. They've skipped on that. They're not going to bother to hit. It's not your negative side of things.
Yeah, okay.
Bullpen questions.
Questions, definitely, especially closing.
Is it over, or can this team rally?
Well, I don't know.
We mentioned yesterday at 7-15, they're only one game behind 25's pace.
They're 7 and
And at
16.
25, they took off on a 16-2 run.
Okay.
At 8-14, they would turn that into
A what run? A what run?
16-2.
16-2. Okay.
So they turned that into 24 and
16.
16 was what they would turn the tables on that.
Okay. Now it'd be 23 and 18, right? 5 over 500.
If they
Right, if they
well,
go-
from now they're 7 and 16 now. So
Yeah, right. But
they-
you said if they go on that same tear,
yeah, they would go 16-2. Yeah,
they'd
they'd
be 23 and 18.
Yeah.
Jeez, that would
I'll
be
take
awesome.
it.
Oh man, that'd be
I'll
awesome.
take it. If they could just go ahead and commence with the 16-2
Yeah,
run,
you bet.
Yeah.
I'll get off their back.
Problem is they're winning 30% of the time. I mean, they're right now the projection is not good
No.
at this point. You know what I mean?
If your hope involves an 18-game stretch that they've done probably twice in their history,
Yeah.
I wouldn't hang my. Oh, yeah.
See, I'm not the only negatory in
They
here.
could rip
Okay,
off 16 of 18 like that. Lickety split.
nothing to it.
Seems unlikely.
They actually, if they start to hit,
You know,
and timely hit,
They're not
with,
due.
with runners in scoring position.
Curtis mentioned, I come down the hall and hear, and in his room you hear, oh God,
I know. I got to put
God.
post game together again.
oh God.
How many times can I hear from
As I'm-
Salvador
as
and
I'm
Bobby
listening to
Witt?
as I'm listening to Royals highlights of
Yeah.
men left on base.
The stats from the night before.
The Royals, I would say they left a small village on base, but that would be inaccurate. It was a
They left a Midwestern city.
mid-major city that was there. People knew each other, that were out there.
It was amazing they get that many people on base and score so few runs.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It's almost
really.
artwork. And there are times you're like,
It's hard to do what they're doing.
there are times I just want to go, well done. Polite golf applause. Nice job. I didn't think you could pull it off, but you did.
It was 1-1. I was watching The Pit, your Pittsburgh
Love
show.
The Pit, yeah.
Great show.
Great
We
show.
wrapped up season 1 last night. Had the Royals on the lower TV, and she was like, "Well, they're winning." I'm like, "Settle down." It's like it's 1-0.
Have you seen this?
It's 1-0. Like we're 7 innings into this. And
Yeah, right.
They've managed a run.
Right.
They've had the whole squad has stood at third 3 times, and they've scored once. Okay, I said just let it happen. And by the end, 1-1. She's like, "Well, they're not losing." I'm like,
Yet.
And then I had the crossfire of Kurtis. Like, there's several different chats that we're on, and just watching that go. And then the people I mentioned earlier that are just blowing me up that I don't want to hear from. Like, fire Q, no! I mean right now. Did I mention fire Q? He should be fired. Why didn't they fire him already? I just one right after
Fire
another.
tonight.
Machine gun fire coming at me.
Go to
I had
the
someone
dugout.
shoot last
They
night.
tooted?
Send me
No.
no shoot. They sent me something last night and said he shouldn't be allowed in the clubhouse after this game.
That's always my favorite.
Like,
That's right up there with the somebody should go down and rip the C off Mike Sweeney's jersey.
No, that or the you're on a road trip. He shouldn't be allowed on the plane to come home.
You know what? And I nominate you to go
Run
be the
away.
guy to take him off the plane. Go ahead. Come on. Go get him, tough guy.
yeah.
You go get, Chris Jones and tell him, get off that plane, you sorry sad sack.
I've gotten a few.
You run in there and tell Vinny Pasquantino, get your ass out of this
what's
clubhouse.
wrong with you?
Yep.
Jack Caglione, you wimp, get out of here. Go ahead. You're the guy, tough guy.
Why don't you
Go ahead, get it done.
Ask some tough questions.
Bobby Witt, we're going to tear up that contract.
When are you going to hold somebody's feet to the fire?
Where do you suck?
That's yeah.
And just as a follow-up,
Why
why
are
do
you
you really suck?
Why are you losing? Would you quit putting the bad players in?
Play the good guys.
Yeah. Call the plays
Go to
that
the
work.
bench.
Call the plays that work.
For what am I going to go to the bench for?
You know what I haven't heard a lot this year? They should have put in Urseg.
No.
That one has gone away. That's the one positive development in my my Twitter mentions
Well,
is
I'd
that
like
no
to
one's
point-
calling for Lucas Erceg anymore.
I do think the bullpen's struggles is an underrated topic because it's not allowed to grow to its full fruition because of the huge shadow of the lack of hitting that is, keeping it in the dark. But, it is amazing how we've gone from, why is this guy even on the team? What a horrible pick to Daniel Lynch should close. What?
It's always what just happened.
Well, I've been saying it for years. Really? Because he's been throwing above like 91 for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Now it's he's a closer.
If you want that spotlight on the bullpen last night, it was a pretty good time to turn it on.
It was, but it's still. I mean, you can't have one run.
No,
9 innings
absolutely
into
not.
the game.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah,
Got to average over between 4 or 5 to even consider winning. How many games did they win? Did you say 18-2 or 16-2?
I almost think it's better to be the team with no runs in the 9th inning when it's 1-0. Like, as like especially the Royals, all those opportunities squandered. It's just a matter of time.
The
baseball gods are going to make us pay. I mean, I just know they are. They're going to make us pay. They just don't let you get away with that. I mean, you screw everything up and squander all these opportunities. There it is. That's exactly the mindset. There it is.
Knew it was coming.
All right, the Godfather Frank Bowl is with us here in the program. We'll take a break, get some Frank opinions next.
The program with Soren Petro.
It helps bring your carefully curated grab ass to me on a daily basis.
Weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Smart home technology in home theaters. That's Applause Custom Sight and Sound. They're Kansas City's best. They've been doing this for more than 20 years. Experts when it comes to the technology, the installation, the craftsmanship as well. Listen, whether you're building new, renovating, or even if your home or office is done, it's the biggest thing that kind of irks me. People are like, oh, I hear about your Applause. You like it? I said, yeah, I love it. It's great. Yeah, we do it, but our home is already done. It doesn't matter. Like, yes, if the walls are open, it's easier to do the construction, but Applause Custom Sight and Sound goes in all the time to houses that are already finished. They're amazing at their ability to fish the wiring that's necessary and hang any TV, speakers recessed into the wall, looking absolutely beautiful. No wires showing anywhere, ever. It's true craftsmanship, and that's what Applause Custom Sight and Sound does. You want rocket-fast Wi-Fi, everybody integrated together in your office? How about a true smart conference room where you can basically have a meeting with anyone anywhere around the world? How about at home being able to use your computer out by your patio, or if you got a pool or what have you, being able to control your utilities, your lighting, everything, all right there from your smartphone. Applause Custom Sight and Sound's been doing it for more than 20 years in an industry that most companies don't even last to. You want your security surveillance? They do that as well. We added that last year, and it was super simple. Only took about a day and a half to do it, and now we have complete coverage all the way around our house. We can see everything. I get an alert anytime somebody steps anywhere near the house. You can get that too. Just call Applause today at 913-498-1183. That's 913-498-1183. And find them on the web at applausetheater.com. Again, that's applausetheater.com. Graduation season is here, so celebrate your grad with La Feta Italian Delicatessen. Pick up rocket sandwich trays on fresh Italian bread baked every morning, or impress your guests with La Feta charcuterie boards. And don't forget La Feta caters grad parties. Visit La Feta at 143rd and Metcalf and make your celebration delicious.
Jayhawk fans, football Saturdays are calling. Season tickets for the 2026 football season are on sale now. Be there for every big play, every touchdown, and every unforgettable moment inside David Booth Kansas Memorial.
Good selection. The Twin Peaks end of the hour answer. Chiefs have never picked at number 9. They have taken 2 players at number 29. I asked for either one.
Guesses?
One is a Chiefs Hall of Famer. One is not.
Oh, one's a Hall of Famer?
One right here is not. I think, Matt.
Wouldn't be somebody like John Alt.
One was in 65. One was in 78.
65.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, 65.
Actually,
Bobby Bell?
He was 67.
Buck Buchanan?
63.
Oh, boy.
My favorite Chief.
Otis Taylor.
Otis Taylor. 1965. The other, Sylvester Hicks in 1978.
Was never, ever going to get Sylvester Hicks.
What year was that?
78.
Okay. It was before I got here. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get to some frank opinions, Curtis.
We should.
Where do we begin?
We begin. Of course, we have to do this. I was looking at that thing, trying to figure out who it was. That was the same year Art Still was taken too. So Art Still was a better pick than Sylvester Hicks. I'm going to go on the record and just say that.
Wow. Put it out there.
Say,
okay.
I'll get some flack, but which of the Chiefs' current first-round picks do they actually use at that spot? Both, neither, 9 only, or 29 only?
Oh, boy. Yeah, that's a great question. They could go anywhere. I'm going to say
9 only.
Yeah, I'm just going to say 9 only.
The correct answer is actually both.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Okay. In fact, hang on. It just jumped. It just changed again. Now it's now 9 only. So what's the number?
Okay, so
either way, you're guessing a number. So
yeah.
3 choices, right?
Both and 9
4.
only are the
None, both, that's 9 or 29.
Okay.
And we both said 9, and Curtis has let us know that is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Just jumped.
Which should tell you something, both of you.
Yeah, and you. So I'm gonna go with 40.
I'll go 39.
37%.
Oh, damn.
35% said both.
I had my calculator.
Yeah.
Sort of cheating.
That's annoying.
Provided they stay at number 9 and number 29, where do they go at number 9? Edge, O-tackle, wideout, corner.
Edge.
Wideout.
60% said edge.
Oh, my God. I knew that as soon as it came out of my mouth.
25% said wideout. 8% said corner.
Frank, I'm going to go ahead and give you credit for those first 2. I'd forgotten to do that, but now I went ahead and put it on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
He's checking me.
He's checking.
Oh, I'm checking too.
Oh, well, that doesn't. You'll screw it up. That doesn't matter.
Who do you watch on draft night while you're listening to sports radio?
That's right.
WHB, of course. ESPN or NFL Network?
I do switch back and forth. I will say, I think most people probably watch ESPN. I have a tendency to watch NFL Network.
I'm going to say that they want to sound learned, and they're going to say NFL Network.
I'll say ESPN.
74-26 ESPN.
God almighty. I used to be good at this game.
If the Chiefs move one and only one of their first-round picks, what's the move? Up from 9, down from 9, up from 29, or down from 29?
I'll say down. Down from 9.
Yeah, I'll go down from 9.
It's actually up from 29.
Okay.
Number?
I will say 60.
Oh, 59.
36.4. 27%
On
said up from 9.
The board.
21% said down from
Up
9.
from 9. I think that's a
the
new boy band.
Up from 9. Yeah.
It's out there.
They got that song, go, Girl, You Know It's Me. I don't know. I was going to say, Girl, You Know It's True, and I realized that was actually
that was
a
really
song.
Definitely the phrase "girl" is definitely used somewhere in it.
It's all the kids from NSYNC. Their kids are all in a band.
And do they
up from 9?
Do they have a little dance step they do while they deliver their goods?
Probably, and it's probably awful.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I was watching.
Get on the floor and do the up from 9 dance.
Who's the? All right, settle down. Anyone watching can see Kurtis put the dance out there.
Yes.
Nothing like a fat guy dancing from his chair.
Doing a new kids dance. Because they were hanging tough, man.
I did. You're hitting.
You hit them all.
All those old people are catching your references.
Oh yeah.
There was who's the one with all the Korean guys? What's that band called?
The K-pop band.
Is that
K-pop is a style. I don't know what the name.
No,
of the
but
band is.
they're
Yeah,
is
it's
it B?
Koreans. That's a Korean band.
Is it BT? It's BT.
Yeah, you're right. It's something like that. Yeah.
They're like wildly popular. I was flipping around on something and saw them, and it's like, well, they actually pretty good dancers there. Not bad.
BTS.
BTS. See,
You're right. Very good.
See,
That's very good.
I'm hip. I know what's going on.
Really?
You are.
Yeah, I'm
What
on
is
top
hip?
of it.
Okay. Settle down.
If there is one position the Chiefs don't address as much as you would like them to, what do you think it will be? What will you be, disappointed as a Chiefs fan? Edge, tackle, wideout, corner.
I'll say corner.
Where's the letdown coming?
Yeah, I'll go corner. It's the biggest need, so that's going to be their biggest fear. Or they see it as the biggest need, the biggest departures.
It's actually a wideout. Number?
Let's go with. So 4 choices?
Mm-hmm.
44. 43.
36.4.
Would you grow up hair? I keep trying to push the limits here, and Frank's he's gonna be gutsy on this. No,
Nah.
coward.
Coward. I am.
Chiefs currently have 9 picks. How many players will they actually take? 10 or more? 9? 8 or fewer?
8 or fewer.
Yeah, he always trading. So
Number?
instead of gathering picks, I'll say.
3 choices.
Yeah, I'll still say 55.
56.
63.
Don't let me get hot, Frank.
Jordan Reed's final 7-round mock draft had 10 players taken from Missouri, Kansas, and Kansas State. How many will be taken? 11 or more? 10? 9 or fewer?
I'll say 10.
Zion, D tackle.
Most of them were
Mizzou
Mizzou.
lineman. Yeah, I was going to say corner.
K-State center, Hecht.
Yeah.
Jalen Daniels was in there late.
Really? They got a lineman as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, him going, I think, in the 6th round.
So what are my choices?
11 or more, 10, or 9 or fewer.
What'd you say?
10 was what Reed had.
I'm going to go 9 or fewer.
68% said 9 or fewer.
Don't let me get hot.
It's okay.
Get hot. Get hot. When did the Chiefs take a running back? Day 2, day 3? They don't. I could have put day 1, but I don't think
I'll
it
say
is.
day 2.
Too many needs. I think day 3.
59% said day 3.
Woo!
22% said day 2.
Get hot.
20% said day 1. Does Matt Quatraro get fired during this season? Yes or no?
No.
No.
Number?
That's on me. 69%.
68.
73.7.
Just took the lead, you dog.
Does Alex Zumwalt get fired during the season? Yes or no?
Yes.
Number?
80.
Oh, boy. It's a good number. I'd have gone over anything under it.
Grow a pair.
81.
85.7.
Yeah.
See?
I was going to go under.
See, and
You said
I
grow
said
pair.
that.
Fine. I'll go to the extremes.
Will the
Taught me.
Royals get over 500 again this season? Yes or no?
Oh, boy.
No.
I'm going to say no. Yeah.
Number?
82.
Great number. I'll say 83.
Yeah, I was like,
Grow
I
a
should have gone
pair.
higher. I'm thinking, I wonder what happened. 86 is what I wanted to change it to.
The number, it was a good number, 83.9.
Damn. Frank gets on the board.
Are you expecting to be excited or let down by the Royal Stadium unveil? Excited or let down? Of those two.
You know what? It's been so many.
They've had enough
I know.
swing and misses that I think people are optimistic they're going to do it right. So I'm going to say excited.
Yeah, they'll be excited.
Number?
You,
My
Frank?
turn. I'll say 70.
69.
62.9.
Yeah.
And last but not
So many
least,
bad looking.
what school does Tyron Stokes choose? Kansas or other?
Kansas.
Kansas, they will say Kansas.
It's actually other.
Oh, boy.
Number?
60%.
61.
59.4.
Yeah.
8-5.
I was up 3-0.
8-5. A big 8-2 run. Gives us what now for the
Royals
totals?
need one of those runs.
That's going to give Soren with 86, Frank at 87.
Uh,
And the overalls.
wait, Frank's still winning?
Yeah, Frank's up by 1 still. He came in with a 3.
You know, when we get to be adults, we give the big score first.
Yeah,
So Frank, 87-86?
That's right.
Okay. He was up by, because I won by 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and what's the total on outright victories?
7-5-3 in favor of Soren.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
All right.
Okay, it's close.
It's quite a match here.
Fun.
Over 500 with the negative run differential. You're getting it done.
We'll take it. We'll take a
One of the
break
close
and find out how stupid I am on current events. It's next. What in the world, Soren? The Godfather, Frank Bowl, is with us here in the program. He's brought to you by our friends at Applause Custom Sight and Sound, Kansas City's best in-home theaters, smart home technology. Find it online at applausetheater.com. guess so. All right, Frank. What in the world? What do you got for me?
All right, buddy. Sharon O'Ketty won her second straight Boston Marathon. Why is that of interest to us here in the Midwest?
She's from the Midwest.
Former KU track star. She set the course record in Boston for women last year, 2:17:20.
Very cool. Very cool.
Some students from Topeka Seaman High School rode to the prom in style. What was the vehicle they got to use?
Geez, I don't know. A trolley.
The Wienermobile.
Ah, nice. Okay.
How many tornadoes touched down in Kansas City area last week?
12.
9.
Okay.
And they just turned the fountains on last week in Kansas City. How many do we have approximately?
1.4 million.
200. 200.
That's not bad.
No, that's not bad.
We should add to it.
Lebo, okay.
More fountains.
Okay, more. That's great.
I like the fountains.
So do I. I think they're awesome.
Trying to get the fountain turned
kind
on
of
in
a
our
city
neighborhood.
of fountains?
Okay.
All right, what's the lowest number of picks the Chiefs have ever used in a single NFL draft? Brought to you by La Feta Delicatessen.
Second half of the program begins right now as we welcome, as you heard, Sam McDowell, columnist for the Kansas City Star, brought to you by our friends at All Weather Decks. Kansas City's best when it comes to building your outdoor living spaces is All Weather Decks. Maybe you're not building a ballpark downtown, but maybe you want a patio, screened-in porch, maybe a pergola, maybe, I don't know, whatever you want. You dream it up. They'll do it. Outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, all-weather decks, more than 15 years in business. Locally owned and operated. You can find them online at allweatherdecks.net. See the map link where they've done jobs all over the metro. See photos of finished projects. Even get your estimate going online right now. Only 6 or 7 weeks away from starting your project. What are you waiting for? All-weather decks online at allweatherdecks.net. Sam, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good. You tweeted out that it's not going at Washington Square Park. So, thanks for the people who was like, "What, are they going back to the East Village? Is the Northland in the picture again? Like, I thought we had this settled." It is going in the Washington Square Crown Center area. You're just saying it's not going to be on that park. That's where kind of everybody's been like, big open space. That's the place to put it. You're saying it's not going to be that spot.
Yeah, I mean, City Councilman Jonathan Duncan told my colleague Kason Bayless and me today that the stadium footprint itself is not going to be in Washington Square Park. And I said, does that mean it's going to be in Crown Center? And he said, frankly, I don't know. I'd still like to learn that. But the city has been very intentional about calling this a Washington Square Park Crown Center project. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to – well, I mean, I could say pretty confidently we're not going to see something just like in a vastly different area of town.
Yeah. So what would be your best guess? Where do you think it goes?
Well, I mean, the other, I think it's certainly going to be a stunner if it's not in that area based on what I've been
Well, no,
told,
I think it'll be in that area, but we've been sitting here looking at the overalls. I mean, I was told a while ago that the railroad tracks are tricky, and that's where I think the Washington Square Park, that there are different rules and things like that. And I would think that at some point people want to bring more trains through there. So I get that, because that was like a warning that I was given, that like you got to be careful around the railroad tracks and all that. But, if we're not anywhere in that park, we're a long way away from that. So I don't think that's the only thing. I think it was maybe a consideration. But then the fact that I asked the mayor, I said, hey, I've heard Crown Center is part of the equation here. Is it going to be kept? Is it going to be torn down? He said, yeah, we're calling it the Crown Center, Washington Square Park Crown Center thing for a reason. But, I think the details are, what did he say, Kurtis? The details are still to come.
Yeah, I think
on
that's
that
right.
front. So, I mean, do you have a footprint? Is it, west of Pershing? Does Pershing stay? Does Pershing go? Do we have any kind of details on like what kind of streets might end up being closed in this process?
Well, I mean, Mayor Lucas told me 2 weeks ago that there was discussion about streets potentially having to be closed like pre and post game, but that the plan did not call for any streets just to be altogether closed, that they would still be used day to day. So, I mean, look, the difficult part in this is the phrasing of this, which is the Royals have not revealed their plans at all. And so this is a public perception shift in the site. That does not necessarily mean that it's a Royals shift in the site, because they haven't announced that they're going to Washington Square Park or that the stadium itself will be on Washington Square Park. So whatever they say tomorrow will be their first public comments on the matter. I hope that it's detailed. I hope that some of these questions we have, that they're going to be very precise in what buildings will stay, what buildings will have to go because of their project. But I think you can definitely assume that there's going to be some buildings that will have to go.
Do you think that they have their plans? Do you think that they're ready to go, that is the timing of all this, or is this just the timing of the financings there and they're still trying to figure out what the buildings look like, which I guess you could understand if they didn't have a location. Now that you have a location, presumably all the land you've got. Now, are we waiting on the stadium, or do you think we're going to get renditions tomorrow?
So City Councilman Kevin O'Neill also told Kason and I that he's expecting renderings, and then he characterized them as minor tomorrow. And he's not saying that the thought of having renderings is minor. I think he's basically saying that these might not be the final renderings that we see, but my guess is we at least learned a much more precise location than what we have right now. I mean, Councilman Duncan had said basically that there's a lack of clarity about this site. I think you're going to find out tomorrow how extensive that lack of clarity is, and I think what he's referring to is that the public perception has just been different. I mean, the public perception, including my own until late last week, was that this was going to be a ballpark at Washington Square Park with some ancillary development that included the Crown Center, and that now, I mean, I think it's at least possible, if not likely, you might see something presented that might be the inverse of that. I mean, just last Tuesday when I talked to you guys, I was literally standing outside the doors of the Kansas City Parks and Rec board meeting where they authorized the city to use the park itself for part of this development. So, like, the park has always been part of this equation, and so, like, it's not like people have made leaps to think that that's where the stadium would go. But again, that's why I say that the wording on this has to be careful, because it's not the Royals' comments that have said that they'll be at Washington Square Park. They've still yet to comment on it.
The fact that the Parks Department was involved in this, and we heard about benefits all over the city, is that the trade-off? Basically, Washington Square Park goes away, and that so in exchange for that, we're going to enhance or build new parks elsewhere. Was that the what we should have taken away from the conversation coming from the Parks Department last week?
No, I mean not part of that conversation. I mean the city council also has a separate proposal in front of it to move and get different green space elsewhere, but also to move the War Memorial over there, the Korean War Memorial over there, because that's its home right now. So I'm just really interested to see what details we do get tomorrow. I guess my hope would be that tomorrow afternoon you're not talking on your show about what details we don't have, but rather they present something that's so fleshed out that we're talking about the details that they do have.
Do you think we'll get some conversation about the capping? You mentioned other green space. What most people think, and I've been told even that it's a done deal. It's not till it is, but that for all practical purposes, it's a done deal that they're going to cap. What do they got? 635? What is it technically?
670.
South.
670. That's over by their last proposal. Like,
right.
That's over by
but my point is, if you're losing green space, if you're losing park space in one spot, is that this is how we're making up for it. It's not part of the same project, but it's like, for those of you that are disappointed in the parks, we're losing X number of square feet of park here, but we're actually gaining more square footage of park over there. Do you think there's any chance?
I don't know if that'll come up in that, but look, I mean that's a pretty cool thing. I mean, because the Maluk family, and Peter Maluk is the one who's recently invested significant funds to take over majority ownership and sport in Kansas City, is headlining that project, and like that, those playgrounds are becoming accessible playgrounds. Like that's a really cool initiative, and he's donated just tens of millions of dollars to that. So I'm excited from that. Just from like
I am too. That's why I'm hoping. What a better time when you've got momentum. We've got the World Cup coming. You've got, you're going to announce a ballpark. What better time to say? And we've got this going on too.
Yeah, I mean, he's a minority owner in the Royals too. So
yeah.
Maybe they should have packaged that together. But I don't know. I see that as unrelated. And I understand the reason you're asking the question is because there will be, and I mean, look, it's not just among residents who don't want to see the Royals move who will complain about eliminating green space. I mean, there's elected officials I've talked to who want the Royals to move downtown that have concerns about the green space.
The ballparks usually face northeast, right? If you go from home to center field, the left field line goes north. I know that the proposal from the north of the river, they had checked and gotten to where you could tweak it a little bit on the direction that they were going to put home plate. Any guess on how the alignment will be?
I think if you produce something that doesn't have like downtown as part of the backdrop, I mean that's part of the purpose. I think of moving there is not just being in the location, but showing you're in the location. So I mean I don't know, but because I really haven't seen anything. I mean there's certainly more that I know than what I can share about elements of the project, but that's not one. Like I haven't seen anything, and so I don't know. But I would certainly anticipate, right, that's got to be.
I would hope so. If the mayor is talking about getting things going in the first quarter of 27, we would presume that the Royals aren't just beginning with some designs, right? That they should maybe we're clearly not, based upon what you're reporting here, we're not going to get the final design, but they should, at least behind closed doors, be quite a ways down the road now, right?
Hey guys, how long with the bases are what, 90 feet? What angle is the?
I think what's going to slow the timeline more than anything. I mean, look, the Royals could slow the timeline. I'm not saying they can't, but I think what's going to slow the timeline more than anything is there will be points of resistance still, because the development agreements, let's go back to City Council for approval whenever there is a development agreement. The CBA will have to go back to City Council.
By CBA, you mean the community benefits agreement.
Whenever
most people in a
agreement.
sports thing think collective bargaining agreement.
Yeah, whenever there is a community benefits agreement like that, will have to get approval by City Council, and I think those will be some pressure points for whatever deal is made. And one of the key things to me about tomorrow's announcement is just who's part of it, and that is Governor Mike Kehoe is one of the participants in it, which obviously suggests that there's been an agreement worked out at the state level, which the state, part of their Show Me Investment Act for stadiums such as this was that there had to be a local source of funding first, and I think it's been pretty obvious that there's been talks consecutively concurrently that have been happening at the same time. So I think them being part of the announcement is an indication that they feel like they have the two major sources of funding in place.
No Jackson County involvement?
I mean, not yet. I mean, from what I understand, I mean, I know that they've had conversations with the Royals, and I mean, if you're the Royals, why wouldn't you have those conversations? But there's people I've talked to that said that they would not only hesitate but outright refuse to give the Royals money without some sort of public vote to show that it was the will of the people to do so. And I think absent a public vote, that the number that you'd be looking at there, of course, would be much smaller than what the sales tax had generated. But I wouldn't be surprised if in the end maybe the Jackson County is a much smaller participant. But I know, like I said, from just talking with people over there, I think that they have questions about what's in it for us then.
Yeah. What's in it is the stadium is in your county. But if you're at this point, like I would be a little surprised if Jackson County's involved, because it's clear that Kansas City, Missouri, and the state of Missouri want to push forward this. If you're Jackson County, you don't have to pay. Why would you? I mean, I think it'd be a tough sell to get a vote across when it's like, well, they're going there whether we pay or not. Why would we pay?
Yeah, and I mean, the other element that's different from Jackson County and Kansas City in this is, two legislators I talked to brought this up, is that the stadium right now currently sits in the middle of the county, and then it's going to be, on the westernmost border of the county. So when it's in the county, yes. I mean, that is absolutely true. But, for a large portion of the county, it's becoming a much further drive for them.
Yeah. All right. So percentage chance everybody's happy and giddy when they hear what's said tomorrow.
Zero that everyone, because you said everyone.
Okay.
There's a 0% chance everyone is happy.
What percentage
anything.
will be happy with what they hear tomorrow?
I have no idea. I mean, I am as in the dark about that as everyone else on what kind of details that they're going to share tomorrow.
Okay.
Other than, like I said, I mean, Councilman O'Neill told us that he expects minor renderings tomorrow of some sort.
Minor renderings.
Yep.
Is that like, pocket photo?
I don't know exactly what it's going to be. I'm eager to see it. I mean, I'm eager to see what they have. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they had what the stadium's going to look like and what the location was. I mean, they've called the announcement. It's, I mean, Mayor Lucas will be there, Governor Kehoe will be there, but they're the ones who have called the announcement, so they're not, some side participant of this. They are the ones driving this, and therefore I expect that they'll have a decent amount to share with us.
We've also had John Sherman, it may have been in something you wrote, I can't even remember where it was, but say, listen, he's told the architects, don't bring me anything without a crown and without a water feature.
Yeah, he said that on opening day.
Yeah, that's when it was.
Yeah. But yeah.
So if now we're going to get some kind of rendering, we would assume that even if it's not the final rendering, you'd go ahead and throw that on there and not deal with the backlash of not having it in there.
Yeah, and I think John Sherman, that's where I've seen most what he's learned throughout this process is the actual stadium itself. just the feedback that he's received there. And obviously they did send out that survey, I don't know what it was, last fall maybe, and he said, by the way, that most people wanted them to stay at Kauffman, which means whatever the rollout is tomorrow, there's going to be a sales pitch required to get their own fans on board and part of it. But he also mentioned that he loves Kauffman Stadium. And I've said this to a lot of people. I mean, the tough sell with moving from Kauffman outside of the location part, because obviously there's I would say a pretty prevalent narrative of why do you need to leave Kauffman Stadium, what's wrong with Kauffman Stadium. And if you sit in the seats at Kauffman Stadium, it is just a gorgeous stadium to look out at, I think. I mean, you could have a better backdrop, certainly, than just watching the cars pass on I-70 and a vacant hotel over the hill. But the actual stadium
What about
backdrop
a burned-out Denny's?
Is
that still
the
there?
remnant, well, no, it's gone. It burned it down, right?
Well, I didn't know if there was.
I think it's gone. But my point is, like, when you look out at the fountains, the backdrop, it's a cool stadium to sit in.
For sure.
It's the part that's underneath it that does not look remotely new at all. And so I think that, first of all, is a credit to whoever has worked to maintain what it's been. And obviously they do have an RMMO fund that has finances devoted to keeping it updated. But, like, they've done a great job of making that still look great if you're sitting in the seats. It is a different story on the bowels of the stadium, where especially you've seen other baseball teams invest, like, in their pitching development is like underneath their stadium and things of that sort, to where, I mean, it's funny, you pass by it all the time when you're walking from their clubhouse to the dugout, and, like, the treadmills are just in the hallway.
Yeah.
And there's just, like, some random elliptical, like, in the hallway
Yes.
or something like that. And I'm not at all trying to make an argument over who should pay for that, but I'm just saying I understand the need, or I would say want more than need, but the want to, like, have an upgraded facility is easier for the people who have seen that, and harder for the public who does sit in the seats and thinks it looks wonderful because it does look wonderful.
And presumably they're cutting it down to 30,000. There's going to be a lot more of the expensive.
At least 30,000.
Yeah. Is it say that, or does it say 30,000?
It has to be at least 30,000. That's part of the requirement from the city, but that's because it's part of the requirement for the Show Me Act to be able to invest in a stadium. It has to be a seat at least 30,000.
So, but we all expect the capacity to come down.
To shrink, yeah.
And presumably a higher percentage of the seats to be high dollar seats.
Yeah, I mean, I think I haven't heard that, but I think
that's
if you just go historically based on
that's
how
what's
all
happened in
stadiums
other
across the
places.
country
Yeah,
is. Yeah. I mean, I've wondered, for example, the conversation that's going to become much more prevalent in the Chiefs stadium move is, when are we going to know about PSLs and these seat licenses and whether or not they're a thing? How much are they? What does that agreement look like? We've seen fewer baseball, but not zero baseball stadiums do that too. And so I wonder, there's all sorts of questions like that I think will materialize over the ensuing days and weeks of this project.
PSLs with the Royals?
I'm just saying there's been other baseball stadiums that have done it.
Do you think
that'll
happen?
I don't know. It's not something that has been as talked about as I was hearing with the Chiefs, because every NFL stadium is doing it. I think, like, once Buffalo did it, it kind of laid the groundwork that every team will follow. And I mean, the Chiefs haven't even said they're doing it, but I, at this point, be pretty surprised if they didn't. I think the Royals, just based on when you look at what other baseball teams have done, there have been new stadiums built without them. So I don't think it's quite the guarantee, but that may be something that they're still studying too. I mean, that's not one of the answers I think that they, like, have got to have on April 22nd tomorrow.
And 200 dates, going back to something the mayor said. They were looking at 200 dates in the ballpark. I can figure out 81 of them, unless he's planning on playoffs every year. You know, that would still not even get us to halfway. What?
I hadn't heard that number.
Yeah, it's 200 dates.
I mean, you're telling me, so I hadn't heard that number, 200 dates.
So he said on the radio with us.
Did you ask him what else? It's gonna be there. You're gonna have a second tenant?
Yeah. Are the A's going to play here too?
Yes.
No, I don't think.
I don't think he.
I think it was getting to the end. I think I got the text, need to wrap.
Yeah.
And just to show you a little peek under the covers. And I don't think we got to it, but we'll have to go back and listen. But 200 dates. I think I did. I think he said concerts and
Yeah.
You know,
It's a lot of concerts. Yeah.
It's an interesting. I mean, it can be
ambitious.
done, and I think it's a neat thing to do. Like I saw Billy Joel there. I'm glad I did, but I don't know that I'm going to like every concert that's there because I was kind of like, oh, I've seen a concert at Kaufman. Good. That was as much the draw as the act.
If there's something
And
else
so-
around it, you can before and after. You can make it a day, but
Yeah.
So that was the only.
It would have to be a-
You know, they've talked a lot about Truist Park and Atlanta. I don't think it's the apples to apples comparison that it's made out to be because Atlanta like almost moved out of downtown to kind of the suburb, and this is the inverse of that. But I understand what they mean about their district looking like that. And I have been there, and that ironically enough, the only time I went there was because they have a little theater over there that's maybe 3,500 to 5,000 seats, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Maybe that's what's coming as well.
And that was convenient, just going to eat right afterwards or the bar right afterwards when you're in town for like that kind of event. So I could see them. I guess I could see the ambition to want to do something like that.
Incredible distraction from the ball club right now. We'll talk about that. Sam McDowell is with us from the Kansas City Star. Joins us each and every week. He's brought to you by our friends at All Weather Decks. You can find them online. Get an estimate going right now. They're only 6 or 7 weeks away from starting your project. Find them online at allweatherdecks.net and relax.
All right, the Lafayette Delicatessen, end of the hour answer. What's the lowest number of picks the Chiefs have ever used in a single NFL draft? This has happened twice. And it's been a while.
5?
5. 1993, which was headed by Will Shields.
I'm also going to go with 5.
That's a good one.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. 1993 and 2002.
How were those drafts?
Well, 93 netted them Will Shields, which was good. 2002.
Let's see. Hang on. 93.
Yep.
What would they have been? Why would they have been down? What do they have? So Will Shields was their initial pick that year, right?
Yeah.
They didn't have a first or a second.
I think
is that right?
That was the Joe Montana that they may have used a pick on him, and then one for Marcus Allen. Because 3 was the highest pick.
I thought Allen was a free agent.
2002 was Ryan Sims, Eddie Freeman draft.
That was 02, but this was what year? 02 was.
Yeah, it was the other one.
They moved up for Sims. That was one of the picks would have gone in that one.
Danon Hughes was 93 as well.
Mm-hmm. The so what years did you say?
93 and 02.
93 and 02.
Yeah. Will Shields, Jaime Fields, Lindsey Knapp.
Will Shields was a third also, right?
Yep.
There was no first, no second.
No first, no second.
So one was definitely Montana.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you're a real bust on when your name on Pro Football Reference isn't even highlighted in blue for a hyperlink.
Yeah, because that means you didn't play at all.
2002.
Yeah, I know.
Who would it have been on that team? I'm trying to think where the second would have gone.
I could probably find it. It's a Pro Sports Transactions, so it'll help. Let's see. Yeah, first
the
was
Chiefs
was Joe Montana.
Forfeited
second
their first and second round picks for selecting Dave Brown and Darren Mickle in the supplemental draft.
Darren Mickle was the second round.
In 93? That was the second?
Yeah.
The first was for Montana.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So,
wow.
Montana? Sure. Darren Mickle? Not as much.
He played, but he wasn't great.
No.
Remember the supplemental draft?
The Giants lost their first for Dave Brown. And the Chiefs lost their second.
You don't lose it. You give it up.
You take it in the supplemental draft, yeah.
You use it, and so it goes away. You know? Very different. Very different.
That was a loaded first round, too.
Was it really?
I mean, you had top half, yeah. They had some good players on that draft.
I didn't.
Willie Rofe. Lots of Hall of Famers. I mean, Bledsoe, Garrison Hurst, Marvin Jones were Pro Bowlers, Lincoln Kennedy. But you had Jerome Bettis and Willie Rofe and Michael Strahan.
Wayne Simmons.
Well, he'd make
Will
it.
Shields, John Lynch.
Hall of Fame driver.
There's some Hall of Famers in that draft.
Yeah. They were good. They were good. Let's talk a little bit. By the way, we'll talk a little bit about Lafayette.
Trent Green, 8th rounder.
Yes.
Sorry. That was worth an interruption.
Yes, it's very good. Lafayette Delicatessen, LafayetteDeli.com to check out their great lineup of subs. Remember, they cater as well. We got graduation parties coming up. Maybe it's just a birthday party, whatever you got, whatever festivity you got. Make sure you give them 24 to 48 hours. Everything is fresh. The bread is baked fresh each and every day. All the freshest ingredients, always at Lafayette. Very soon coming to the Corinth shops as well. Mm-hmm. So popular. Sam McDowell's Kansas City Star voted the number 2 new restaurant in Kansas City. I can tell you it's number 1 in my heart. LafayetteDeli.com. Locally owned and operated. Great people. Great sandwiches. You will love it as well. Not so great with the hitting, Sam. Your proposal for fixing it would be what?
I mean, I think I'd be employed on a major league roster if I could fix this lineup right now.
Is it the lineup or is it what they're doing?
Well, I mean, it's a combination of a few things. I mean, first of all, you went into this off season anticipating that your growth was going to mostly come from within because they more tinkered with the roster than have overhauled it 2 straight off seasons. And, you know, I mean, obviously a year ago they added Jonathan India. It's not like they did nothing. This year they added Isaac Collins. It's not like they did nothing, but it obviously lacked a significant punch to the lineup. And instead, like, you actually have gotten internal improvement in certain areas. Carter Jensen is better than a lot of the guys they were putting in the lineup at fifth last year. I think Caglione maybe hit better than what they had, at least at right field a year ago. But your three primary players are just not giving you much at all.
Yeah, that's.
And by the way, that's what it comes down to, is that you had 4 success stories in your lineup last year. Like, successes going into the season. What do you expect from this guy? This season's been a success, and
they were what? Michael Garcia,
I think the first 4 hitters, and
okay.
I say that because Salvi was 35, and I think that year for a 35-year-old catcher was a success, and he started off great last year too. This year, like, what's the success story in your lineup? Carter Jensen, I think, is one, but like, what's your second best success story that you have in the lineup?
Right now, I don't think there is one.
Because like Michael Garcia has a lower average, lower slugging percentage, and lower on base percentage than he did a year ago.
Yeah, he got a few hits last night, but he had really been. Curtis had pointed that out. He had gone ice cold.
He was like
for a little while.
A 3 for 27 stretch before last night.
But yeah, no, I think it's the biggest problem. And the question that I have is, they have resisted. There were calls for change at the hitting coach last year. They resisted it. They changed the coaches around the hitting coach. And they're a little bit better this year, runs scored. At least they were through Sunday. I don't know how much yesterday's 5 runs might have changed things. They're probably still a little bit better than they were last year, but they're still well below. I mean, the expectation was that they were going to take a significant step forward, and they're still one of the worst hitting teams in baseball. And the point that I would make is that I believe I've been asking all along, when do you get concerned? Well, you're concerned now.
Well,
I don't ask the question because you are concerned. Now the question becomes, when do you make a change? At what point does something have to change? And I get it when you believe in somebody and you want it to work, but there'll be collateral damage if at some point you don't make the obvious move, which is to change the hitting coach. And that collateral damage is going to be that Matt Quatraro is not going to make it. So at some point, J.J. Piccolo and I'm sure John Sherman would be brought into the discussion if you're going to change managers. And John Sherman are going to have to wrestle with the idea of how long are we going to continue to damage Matt Quatraro's standing with our fan base at the expense of not making a move with the hitting coach.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that because, like I've always said, I know Matt Quatraro's getting a lot of heat right now. This is part of the consequences of being 7-16 to open the season. You should look at everything. And I've always just thought the manager can't hit. The manager puts people in the best positions that they can to win, and I don't think he had a great game last night, but I don't think he's the problem. But the lineup clearly is the problem. And to your point about, like, when do you get concerned, I'll give you, these are really quick stats. I'll give you 3 quick stats just when you look at the history of it. So in the last 44 years, only 2 teams have started 7, and this was when they were 7-15. They were 7-16 after last night. But in the last 44 years, only 2 teams had started 7-15 or worse and later made the playoffs. In the last 40 years, only 1 team had made the playoffs after scoring 71 runs or fewer in their first 22 games. 1. And this is the most amazing. The last team to have a minus 32 run differential, which is what it was through 22 games, or worse, and finish with the winning record and make the postseason was 1914. And that team was the Boston Braves. There was
the Miracle Braves.
The Miracle Braves. Team came back from such a bad situation, they called them the Miracle Braves. And, like, that's the so I understand that teams go through bad stretches because the other side of the coin here is that almost every year you'll find a playoff team that at some point went 7-15 over a stretch of 22 games. Really, almost every year.
Well, David
but
Lesky,
they have foundations of other success. This one doesn't.
Yeah.
The only thing we know about this team right now is they're 7-16.
The 7-15 part of the equation on any time during the year, 19 of 48 playoff teams, the last 4 years worth of playoff teams, 19 of them had a stretch of 7-15 or worse over 22 games. But it's the start. Like, when it's the start,
different. Yeah.
It kills you. It just sucks the life out of you. It stands out. It doesn't get buried. It becomes more of a mental thing. It wears on you. Like, if you believe
you don't have
there's
the foundation to go back. Like last night, J.J. Piccolo had said something about the fact that they went through a similar stretch last year and then they came out of it, which he's right. the start of the season, though, you could still argue cost them the playoffs. They only missed the
For
playoffs
sure.
by 5 games. Like, and
The
to be
8 and
clear,
18 killed them.
he wasn't being flippant and saying these games don't matter. That's not what he was saying at all. He's saying you can still rebound and play better. But
Yeah, they were
you're
8 and 14.
You're 9 games under.
They were 1 game better, and then they would go 16-2.
Yeah.
They also had the White Sox in there. They had the Rockies in there. And right now, all of baseball does not. I mean, too bad you don't get the Mets now, right? But all of baseball, it seems to be landing in the middle, with the exception of like the Dodgers. Which in some ways you're like, okay, great, the Royals. There's not so many great teams. Yeah, but there's no one for them to beat up on either, right? I mean, the teams that have the worst record are not supposed to be there.
Some of them are the top payrolls in baseball right now.
Yes.
Like the Mets.
The Mets, the
Mariners
Blue Jays,
haven't played great. The Blue
the
Jays
Red
haven't
Sox.
played great. Yeah, the Red Sox haven't played great.
So
that is their saving grace, I think, in this conversation. Is that stat I just mentioned, the asterisk on it is there's more playoff teams that make it now than made it then. And the other one is exactly that, which is the AL is not exactly murderer's row right now. It's not like teams are just running away from the Royals to where it's out of reach. But again, I just repeat it. You're 9 games under. Any point in the season when you're 9 games under, you don't look at that team and say, good baseball team just not playing well right now, because this team on paper is bad. Optically, they're bad right now too. These last 3 games, like they've made like little league mistakes. I mean, they ran into each other on Saturday in the outfield. On Sunday, Isaac Collins has to avoid a fly ball for it to hit the ground, and Michael Garcia's tapping his chest like it's his fault. Cody Bellinger is running in a second laughing at that play. And you had a third-string catcher rounding third base, which I think I phrased it like it looked like he was running the wrong way in like one of those lazy rivers trying to get around third to go home. All in one game. All in one game. And
last night.
And then last night, I mean, the base running mistake from Thomas. And, like, those 2 things, by the way, like sending a guy from third, because, I mean, that ball was at the warning track when Vance Wilson said, like, that should have been enough time to make it. But also, like, if you're Vance Wilson, you're like, my heart of the order's though not giving me anything.
Yeah. I know.
And I think that's what Lane Thomas, if the Royals are, last night, if the Royals are 15-7 instead of 7-15, I don't think Lane Thomas tries that. I think they absolutely, like, this is part of what you're talking about. When it's the start of the season, you feel differently about being in a bad stretch because it's all you know. It's all you are right now is 7-16. And then you can't say, oh, well, when we look at the standings, though, we've got some cushion. We're still whatever, you'd be 38-40. It's not that bad. They feel like it's bad. And this is what happens when this is all you have and it's the start of the season.
Yeah, it compounds and you start doing these things, you start pressing. And that's what they're doing. And that's where, to me, you've got to relieve some pressure. And that's, at some point, it's going to be the manager. Now, the one thing I will put at Matt Quatrero's feet, and we talked about this, we haven't mentioned it today, but, last year they were not good on the bases either. And they're not good this year.
No.
And at the end of the year press conference, Matt Quatrero, one of the things when asked is like, well, we've got to do a better job of being aggressive on the bases.
And we all went,
well, wait a minute. No, like you're running into outs everywhere. And we couldn't, and I'm like, well, maybe that's just something you say at the end of the year press conference. But it does appear, I mean, to your point, I agree exactly with you. I don't think Lane Thomas goes if they're winning. But just like part of the reason they can't hit, their chase rate is down. They're walking more, but they're watching all kinds of good pitches.
Their meatball percentage that they swing at is
which is why I said I said to Kurtis, I said, he goes, well, it's like they don't have a plan. I said, I disagree. I think it absolutely looks like they have a plan. It just sucks.
Right.
It's not working. It doesn't work with this group of hitters. The strides they're making, they're more than giving back by not hitting the balls that are hittable. And it likewise looks like the plan is be aggressive on the base paths. Because it's exactly what they did last year, and they're doing it again this year.
We were driving in the wrong direction. If we do it even faster,
yeah,
they've made 9 outs on the bases, which does not include pickoffs, and that's the 6th most in the league. They've been picked off 5 times. There's one team that's been picked off 6, so they're tied for the 2nd most in the league there. To your point on the approach, this has me wondering if NHL coaches turn over like crazy. You follow the NHL as well. Like, I mean, the Islanders, Ned Yosted their Patrick Waugh with 4 games left in the season. They were in the playoff spot when they did it, and they didn't win again, by the way. But and their whole rationale for it is good coach, need a different voice. And that, to me, is what I've started to ask myself recently, because I've talked to Alex Zumwalt a lot. Like, I'm impressed when I talk to him. He knows the players. I think the players feel like he has them prepared. But I'm just wondering if, when you hear the same voice, because a lot of these guys heard his voice in the minors too.
Mm-hmm.
If maybe it's just, well, I know what he's going to say. And, maybe Vinny Pasquantino and Salvador Perez right now need to hear a voice where they don't know. It is just something different, something new. And that's not advocating that the Royals make a change, because I do think Zumwalt brings more value than I know whenever I say that, people don't like to hear it. And by the way, if they did make a change, I think I'd advocate that they should just move him to a different job within the organization, because that's what I think of the value that he can bring. But this is, I mean, I asked JJ Picola about it last night. Why is this happening for the second straight year this time of year? I mean, they were historically low scoring last April, and here we are again having the same conversation. And there's no guarantee, just because they turned it on after the All-Star break last year, that it's going to happen again this year, because they were great with runners in scoring position after the All-Star break, and they've regressed back to being as bad as it gets with runners in scoring position.
We're talking to Sam McDowell here on the program. We'll take a break, come back. He's brought to you by our friends at All Weather Decks. You can find them online at allweatherdecks.net. Let them know you heard about it right here on the program. Building outdoor living spaces is what they've done for more than 15 years. They're Kansas City's best. That's why they've 24 times won the Angie Super Service Award, carrying an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. It's allweatherdecks.net, and relax. You're listening to the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We're talking with Sam McDowell, columnist for the Kansas City Stars, brought to you by our friends at All Weather Decks. We creep ever closer to the NFL draft. Do you, we had a little hubbub over the weekend. Everybody decided, Chiefs are moving up. They're going to 3 with the Cardinals, 4 with the Titans, which I don't believe to be the case at all.
No, I think they could move up, but not 3 or 4. That would surprise me.
That would surprise me. In fact, I will say it won't happen. That's what I will tell you. But what do you think they've zeroed in? Do you think Jordan Tyson's workout, was that a guy they liked and that's now shot him past him? A lot of people are now saying the Giants are going to go there at either 5 or 10. If they're thinking 10, they'd have a shot at him. If they're going 5, they won't have a shot at him. If they go for him, does that leave Carnell Tate? Do they have another wide receiver in mind? What do you think they're thinking at 9?
Yeah, man. First of all, I feel like the Chiefs are pretty good about having the public feel like they're going one way with their pick, and I mean
we nailed it with Reuben Foster in 17.
Yeah, I mean they've done a lot of this in the past, so I don't know that we really should take clues from things that are out there, but absolutely, I feel like they certainly have some targets in mind, and it's just a question of which guys it is, and I feel like it's more towards the offense, and I don't know exactly what's led me to believe that, but I'm starting to feel more. I'll say I know some things that, I mean, Brett Veach feeling like the edge rushers are more even and to where there's not a ton of separation. Well, you've got picks 29 and 40. He feels like that the depth of that position is through the second round, maybe 2.5 rounds. Okay, then why spend the 9th overall pick on an edge rusher, for example, because the standout guys should be gone. In which case, I think if you've got questions about Ruben Bain for his arm length, for the off-the-field stuff, I think you can wait till 29 or 40. And I think if you avoid that position, I think offense is starting to feel much more realistic for that spot.
Wide receiver and tackle, or wide receiver only?
Both, but I guess I would prioritize it as wide receiver just because I think that room needs the help. And you also have your best wide receiver, Rashee Rice, on the last year of his deal. And with really, I feel like the Chiefs should have no incentive to try and lock him up long term. And this needs to be a wait-and-see year for him for a lot of reasons, for the obvious a lot of reasons. And so I think wide receiver should be at the top of their list with that pick. I don't think there's a top 5 guy at that position, but I do feel like there's talent at that position, and I think more than what maybe the national narrative has been, just because of the absence of like a Jamar Chase in this draft or something.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I agree. I think there's talent, and I don't care what the consensus is. You're in the get it right business. You're picking up a 9. You need, they got it right with Eric Fisher. They're picking 1 in a year that was a terrible year to be number 1. But they got a guy that ended up starting for him, and left tackle that started for him for a number of years and played in a couple of Pro Bowls. I mean, they did fine with
if you can get that type of player at wide receiver, like that's a premium position. Like that's not a bad pick.
No, I agree. We'll do our mock draft tonight on our Red, Gold, and Bold.
It's going to be fun. Let's do it.
Me, you, and Jeff. Looking forward to it. Sam McDowell from the Star. We'll take a break. Need to know is next.
All right, how many pitchers have thrown a perfect game and pitched for the Royals? Brought to you by La Feta Delicatessen.
Quarter of the program begins right now as we finish strong here on a Tuesday. Still to come, Eric Bossy is going to explain to us, lay out to us, what should we be thinking about the transfer portal and when is Stokes going to make up his mind as to which school he's going to go to. Kansas has long thought they were going to get the number one player in the country. Mizzou's got a couple of McDonald's All-Americans. We'll talk to Eric Bossy about that coming up here in our next segment. First, though, we begin with our Need to Know. It's brought to you by my friends at Roberts Robinson. If you are in the market for a vehicle, Roberts Robinson's got you covered. More for your trade. That's what we want. Let's quit beating around the bush. First of all, understand and respect my time. Let's get to it. Roberts Robinson understands that you have got a busy schedule going on, and they want to make sure that you're taken care of. It's about trust. It's about dependability. It's about knowing you're taken care of even after you drive off the lot. Right now, Roberts Robinson has got Chevy Truck Month going on. Silverado, Sierra, Colorado. Get up there. Get the best value for your trade. Have the easiest car buying experience. And, of course, know that they have you covered even when you leave the lot. I know we had some service being done up on Friday at Roberts Robinson. They picked up the vehicle, did the service, brought it back. Thank you to my friends at Roberts Robinson. Robbie and service, absolutely fantastic. Same can be said of Tim in sales, Jordan in finance, Mike Robinson and his team. Absolutely fantastic. Find them online at robertsrobinson.com. Let's start with some Chiefs football. The Chiefs at the podium, Justin Fields, backup quarterback, maybe starting quarterback to start the year, was available today. Fields was asked what stands out so far about the Chiefs.
I would say just the winning, to be honest. Finding ways to win, and of course, I think, just seeing that, just having that culture, similar to when I was in Pittsburgh, just that winning culture, that winning mindset, and even me being here for 2 days, you can tell, why that happens. Just the mindset of the coaches, of the players, the fact that 99% of the guys are here right now. Just shows you what kind of team, we're going to be this year. And it just shows you kind of the wants and, the mindset that each guy on the team has here.
When he first started, it's like the winning. Well, you haven't been here for any of the winning. How would you know about the winning? And then he gets to the culture and the mindset, and you get it.
Yep.
It's
what everyone says.
1-6-11 season does not erase all of the culture that's been built for all the years going back to 2013 when Andy Reid arrived in Kansas City. Fields went on, said he can't wait to work with Patrick Mahomes and others.
We, of course, knew of each other, but we didn't really communicate before coming here, so I'm excited to learn from him. I'm already kind of, picking his brain a little bit and just observing how he, goes about things in the meeting room, on the field, and stuff like that. So I'm excited to learn and excited, of course, work with Coach Reid, EB, and all the guys on offense.
Okay. What about his role on the team? Said he's ready for whatever comes his way.
Regardless of me starting or being a backup, I'm gonna attack the day the same way. My goal is to get better each and every day, any way I can. So I think, of course, you do have to look at that, but my mindset going into each day doesn't change.
All right. He also said that they don't have any trick plays drawn up for me just yet. We really haven't done any kind of installs, so to be continued.
To be continued. Other NFL news, Mike Tomlin is not going to be on an NFL sideline for the first time in a couple of decades. He is headed to NBC. The former Steelers head coach is joining Sunday night pregame show, Football Night in America, as a studio analyst. Sources confirmed this to ESPN on Tuesday. So,
yay.
Will he be good?
I think he will. If he'll say stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If he'll speak his true opinions.
The chops are absolutely there.
His ability as an orator, very good.
Yes.
And
since day one.
Knows the game, very bright guy. The question is, does it...
Looks cool.
Does he, yeah. Does he just end up saying, well, it's a difficult situation and, we'll see. Like, you're not being paid to say we'll see.
I tend to think he wouldn't take that job if he wasn't gonna do that.
He's gonna say this instead.
We do not care.
I knew something was up when you got a big goofy grin on your face.
That was me back in the day.
Yeah.
You'd see me go, oh, he's got something.
This will walk right into this one. This will be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if he's done with football, if he's done coaching, he'll be great.
Yeah.
But if he wants back in,
yeah, maybe looking out for some toes. But
well, you don't want to be stepping on the toes of some franchise that you're hoping is going to hire you.
Yeah, but he was the guy who was never worried about toes in his own locker room. So I think he's going to be the same kind of guy on television.
I hope so. I think he's got a chance to be really good.
Same.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. And I am quite optimistic. I think even if he wants back into the game, I think the thing that those coaches need to understand is I think you can call it the way you see it. If there's an owner that won't hire you because you were honestly critical of his team, then do you want that job anyway?
Yeah, exactly.
To me, it's a crap detector on jobs you don't want.
Yeah. Yeah, if you go out there and say what you think, and the first person that comes to you goes, I want you for my team, that's a guy that's serious about winning.
Yeah. Colts quarterback Daniel Jones ruptured his right Achilles tendon just over 4 months ago. Took a major step in his rehab. He began dropping back and throwing again. Okay. So the Colts will be tough? Is that what we're saying there?
What's Daniel Jones going to be? I mean, I'm still like, really? I'm not entirely sold on him, but
he was an upgrade for what they had.
For sure.
Yeah. So let's hear from the Kansas City Royals after last night's game. It was not a happy clubhouse. Bobby Witt Jr. said this was not the way he thought it would be.
He looked back 2 months ago, a month ago, whatever. No one in here would believe that we are technically the worst team in baseball. We believe in each and every one in here. And that's how we just got to go about it. We got to get better every day and try to just improve. And so it's frustrating. It sucks. It's just one of those things where we just got to be better. Got to play better. I got to take better at bats. Mikey leads off the game a couple games with a leadoff hit, and I strike out. I got to get better.
What is your take on just the fans showing their displeasure, maybe booing a little bit early in the game, and how much do you want to just make sure you can get their support back?
Yeah, it sucks, but if you're the worst team in baseball, you might deserve to get booed every once in a while. It should motivate us to get better, and just should motivate us to go out there and just lay it all on the field each and every night, give it all every night, and just go from there.
Some people got edgy about him saying it might be, how do you say it? It might be warranted.
You might deserve to be booed.
You might deserve to, like the might. I'm assuming those are mostly people that read the comment and did not hear the comment. I don't hear a guy who's like, oh, they might be wrong. I hear a guy, how'd you put it when we were discussing this?
I said to be like, hey, if you shove somebody on a public sidewalk, you might deserve to get your butt kicked.
Right.
You might deserve the consequences.
Yeah, like, or you keep talking like that, you might need to get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
It's not a statement of like, I might do it. It's like, keep talking about that, I'm going to do it.
Bobby Witt Jr. is not on the fence about whether or not his team, to me, is not
I agree.
on the fence about whether or not his team deserves to be booed.
I agree. I mean, to me, if you're upset about that comment, get a life. I mean, he wore it.
Yeah.
And
a guy who doesn't often say much said quite a bit there.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the longest sound bites we've ever had from Bobby Witt.
Yep.
I mean, that was a thoughtful, I'm going to give a real answer. This is not just like, when he's had a good day, it's like, hey, put some at-bats together. The guys were all there behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for so-and-so getting on base. I mean, he is done quick.
Yeah, that's the kind of answer you usually hear from Vinny Pasquantino.
Yeah, I thought that was impressive. Matt Quatrero talking about guys being left on base, asked about those struggles.
I say this a lot, so forgive me, but it's giving yourself as many of those opportunities as you can, and that was the bright side of it. I mean, I thought our at-bats against Bradish were excellent, made him work really well, stayed on him, because sometimes you'll see it where the guys will, any team will run up a high pitch count for a couple innings, and the guy gets a quick inning, and he's able to kind of set sail there after that. But our at-bats were good throughout the night on him, but clearly not coming through when we needed. But, the The one thing I noticed with him is that breaking ball got better as the game went on, and he located some, and we expanded the zone. So it's more about just staying tight, refining your zone when you know that you have him on the ropes.
Are you guys frustrated now? Is there a breaking point? I know this has just been kind of a really tough stretch, but how are they kind of handling it?
The mood in the dugout throughout the game, the mood all day in the clubhouse was outstanding. Are they going to be frustrated right now? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, why wouldn't you be? But that's not who they are to hang their heads and not compete.
Lebo just squeezing shoes. Breaking stones. I just love the term "squeezing shoes."
I've never heard that before.
Yeah. I think I've
What
heard
is
that.
that?
I think that's like it's a New
The
York
1920s
thing.
or something?
It's 1990s. I used to hear that on NYPD Blue a lot. Hey, you squeezing my shoes over here? You squeezing shoes. Breaking stones. But it wasn't just the starter. I mean, the relievers came in. Every reliever that came in seemingly was able to get the left-handed batters to swing over the top of breaking stuff down and in.
Yeah.
Every single guy.
All right, Lucas Erceg not able to get the job done closing out the game. Contreras was asked about his outing.
I'm sure he'll be very frustrated with the walks. I mean, it was 2-strike hit that tied the game, but I think there was 3 walks in the inning, and that's very uncharacteristic for him. So I mean, he'll be frustrated with it. I don't know if it's a mechanical thing. Again, we're looking at pitches that are within a half an inch, but these guys don't expand the zone, and you could see what happened there.
What's your confidence level in Erceg after some struggles this season?
Yeah, I'm confident in him. I mean, he's got great stuff. It's just you're talking about, again, razor thin margins and the ability to bounce back from a tough inning like this, and he'll do that.
When he walked the first guy, I posted the little, the Samuel L. Jackson "Hold on to your butts" from Jurassic Park. Then he picked the guy off, and I'm like, oh, maybe it is the Royals' night. Then he walked the next guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah, it was just. How much do you think the white belt had something to do with it?
It's possible.
Am I the only one? Do they have like 10 belts and they can wear whatever they want? Are we not? Do we not have a plan on that?
Caglione wears a gold belt. I think Isbell wears a white belt. Vinny wears the gold. I'd like him to go back to the standard blue. I think it kind of looks a little goofy.
Or black.
That too.
Yeah. Not sure what we're doing, and everything's got a picture on it. It's a crown or it's a hey. Fine, you can have them, but everybody wear the same thing.
Yeah, it's a uniform. The word is uniform is.
How about that? I took the pressure off Erceg. I started bitching about belts.
There you go.
Well, let's put it back on Erceg. He was candid about his effort.
It's unacceptable. Walk 3 guys. That's horrible. So I got to be better. Felt great tonight, and maybe I was just trying to do too much, trying to strike everybody out. But at the big league level, facing some good hitters. So I know I'm capable of this role. But last 2 outings for me have been atrocious. So there's nothing else I can do besides show up tomorrow and be ready to compete. So it is what it is.
Can't be anything else.
No, listen, I think the guy works hard and competes, and
wearing
you can hear the frustration. He wants to be the closer. He's like, I know I can do this role. I think this, he's been used in another role. Now he's getting the chance to be the closer, and I think there's an element of maybe trying to do too much.
For sure.
But he's not striking anybody out, period. I mean, still 99.
And
I don't know why he can't.
Yeah.
Has he lost all the break on all his breaking stuff? Is he, is it the secondary offerings? Is there just no movement? Like, I don't understand. He can still ramp it up there. But
and they're not able to strike guys out. It rears its ugly head, not just in giving up hits.
And it's in a time in the sport where people are willing to strike out.
Yes. But it's those walks. I think all 3 of the walks in that inning, he had 2 strikes on him, and one of them, I think it was like 1-2. If you can't get that swing and miss pitch with 2 strikes, you just keep giving the hitter another opportunity to make a play. And last night they either hit the ball for a base hit or they stood there and watched it and walked down to first base.
Yeah. So the move that people were upset about is always the move that doesn't work. That was Daniel Lynch being lifted for John Schreiber. Matt Quatrero explained pulling Lynch for Schreiber.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor Ward is exceptionally good against lefties, and Schreiber's really good against those guys, and I mean it worked out there. And then we get Beavers 0-2 and just couldn't put him away. You know, he worked a good at bat to get back in the count, but it was really the Taylor Ward matchup.
It's a Taylor Ward matchup.
Yeah. The biggest complaint that I hear, and I think there's some validity to it, is I get lefty-righty if you've got two guys who are throwing the ball well, and whatever you would say about Daniel Lynch, hey, you got good Daniel Lynch tonight. Why don't you – is he better against a guy who's better against lefties and righties than going to a righty who seems to match up well with Ward's numbers but has been struggling all year?
The
How
more
do you divide that?
Yeah, I mean, one, you brought Schreiber in. I mean, we talked about when he was brought in that he was really a Rugi, a right-hand only guy. I mean, he's done more against lefties than I think we thought he was going to be capable of, and maybe that's part of the reason why the Royals got him. But you know, there's so much more than just the pure left-hand, right-hand stuff. They are now on swing plane versus, you know, pitch plane and you know, horizontal movement, not just up down, and there's a lot that goes into it. Every move has been thought out. So I you know, and he comes from pitching smart organizations. So I don't think it's a matter of he doesn't know what he's doing in any way, shape, or form. I think it just didn't work. And I will back up. And listen, I am all ears about talking about how the bullpen's been constructed. More from a J.J. Piccolo, I think, you know, has he still not been able to give enough weapons to Q? I think part of that is they haven't been able to get enough of their guys through the system yet. Yeah. And I'm optimistic we're going to see some big strikeout relievers coming very soon. We're 2 drafts into Bridges, 3 drafts into J.J. Piccolo, and we're going to make that 3 and 4 here very soon. We got to start seeing some fruits of that, but because you should not be out. So many relievers are guys that are from within their organizations that are coming up. They're young guys, mowing guys down. Maybe they still think they might start. Maybe they think they're going to close eventually, but they're coming out and they're pitching 61 innings and striking out 85 guys. The Royals don't seem to have that.
No.
And I mentioned there's almost nobody on that road. There's what do we say? Chris Bubich, Daniel Lynch, and Noah Cameron, and that's it. That came from within. Otherwise, this pitching staff is all trades and free agent signings. Even you could be like, well, Matt Strom. Well, he left. He was, but he was traded away. Now that was a trade.
He was traded away 9 years ago.
Yeah, and so you know, like it is still a work in progress. I get that, but you know, we need to start seeing some more in that bullpen. But listen, it should not be 1-0. There was multiple times to not even need Lucas Erceg to get up. Lucas Erceg should have been eating a hot dog and thinking about, was it going to be Dippin' Dots or a beer after the game? Okay, he should have never even been needed in that game because it should have been 5, 6, 7-0.
Yeah, they had him, and Alcantara talked about how eventually the Orioles pitcher, who's forgetting his name, Braddock.
Yeah.
Something like that. Well, he started getting that curveball. Well, you had him on the ropes early. You could have punched him out. He would have never been in there to get his curveball figured out if you'd knocked him out in the first or in the third when you had bases loaded and nobody out.
Well, and you're also allowed to do more than single.
Yeah.
You know, you can hit the ball hard into a gap. You can hit the ball over the wall and really punish them.
I heard somebody say, I think it may have been Jake Eisenberg on the broadcast, that they had 2 hits with runners in scoring position last night, and neither of them scored a run. It's the only hit that scored a run was the home run from Caglione, and that goes to your. If you hit doubles always score somebody in scoring position. Singles don't.
Yeah,
don't always.
Yeah, that's a fair way to put it, to say the least. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back and talk some college basketball. Eric Bossi from 24/7 Sports joins us next here in the program.
The program with Soren Petro.
If you can work the little one-hand tug, it's a little easier.
Weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, now is the time to call All Weather Decks. You know they're Kansas City's best when it comes to building your outdoor living spaces. Has your old deck seen better days? Is it worn down? Is it rotting? Is it falling apart? Now's the time to call All Weather Decks. They'll take that tired deck and create a living space you'll enjoy all season long. How about a patio? Is that crumbling, falling apart as well? They can do that. Screened-in porches, sure. Outdoor fireplaces, yes. Fire pits, Yep, they do it all. Even all season rooms. Those rooms where like maybe you extend the roof line out from the roof. These are complicated jobs, big jobs that take experts. All Weather Decks does it. That's why they've won 24 times the Angie Super Service Award. They probably helped one of your neighbors. Check it out. Go to allweatherdecks.net. You can look on the map link where you can click on the map and see there's little pins dropped where they've done jobs. Hundreds, thousands of jobs all over the entire metro. Schedule your free consultation right now. They're only 6 or 7 weeks away from starting your project, but you need an appointment. So call 913-206-1974. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810. Tell them you want a great outdoor living space, just like they did for me. Allweatherdecks.net, that's their website. Photos of finished projects, all the awards, the map link, and even get that estimate started right there online at allweatherdecks.net. Or call 913-206-1974. Kansas City's best for more than 15 years is All Weather Decks. And relax. Graduation season is here, so celebrate your grad with La Feta Italian Delicatessen. Pick up rocket sandwich trays on fresh Italian bread baked every morning, or impress your guests with La Feta charcuterie boards. And don't forget La Feta caters grad parties. Visit La Feta at 143rd and Metcalf and make your celebration delicious.
Spring storms are on the way. Is your roof ready? Hey, this is SSJ, and now's the time to call Brian Donegan and his team at WeatherTech Renovations, your trusted local roofing experts. Winter snow, ice, and wind can
Tonight is the deadline for players to put their name into the transfer portal. Most of them are already in there, but after that, the teams know who all is out there, and they can start giving some take it or leave it offers, I would assume, is going to be what we see in college basketball coming very soon. Eric Bossy is with us here in the program right now. 24/7 Sports. He is the National Basketball Director for 24/7 Sports. Eric, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, Soren. How you?
Doing really good. Let's wait for the transfer portal here in a minute, but let me back up to some of the recruiting. Kansas has seemingly been the front runner, tracking to get the number one player in the country in Stokes. When do you think that's coming to fruition? Do you think Kansas is still in the lead?
I think they still got a really good shot with Tyron Stokes, the number one player, who's originally from Kentucky, played a couple years in California, and then finished up at Rainier Beach in Seattle. An exact time frame with Tyron, that's been tough to pin down. There's been a lot of thought that maybe it could be soon as this week, but he's really committed to sitting back and kind of waiting to see how the transfer portal process plays out before making a decision. So it's still a little bit up in the air. I would think sooner than later. But, again, Tyron's just one of those kids who kind of marches to the beat of his own drum.
How much is it going to take to sign Tyron Stokes?
A lot. Let's put it that way. The speculation is certainly up there with whatever the top kids in the transfer portal are making. And, you're hearing about guys getting $4 to $5, even a little bit over $5 million. So go ahead and figure that Stokes is probably in that range.
We hear those numbers, and I hear a lot of people like, oh, no, they're not that high. But, and so maybe they're not quite that high, but they're way more than they were. Like this, it keeps being more every year, right? And significantly more. Like, where does it – at some point there has to be a market correction, doesn't there?
Yeah, I've actually spent a lot of time talking to college coaches about this, about, how often can you keep going back to donors and asking for more money? How often can you keep going to local businesses and asking them to find money for kids on NIL deals? What are you going to do with potentially increasing revenue share? And the answer is these guys could theoretically agree to a gentleman's handshake to, hey, let's not spend as much money, but all it'll take is one guy, not agreeing, and they'll go back to spending. But really, until this thing is collective bargains, or donors just start asking themselves, what am I getting for this? I don't think we're going to see it slowing down anytime soon, because really, if you think about it, there's going to be several college basketball players next year making more money than first-round draft picks. And while it's great for helping to keep college players in college, I don't know that that's necessarily sustainable long-term.
You mentioned that he marches to the beat of his own drum. Could you expand upon that just a little bit? And should that be something that maybe makes Kansas a little wary, given how last season went?
No, yeah, I know. Everyone's a little gun-shy after how things went with Peterson this year. Now, just in terms of, Tyron's a kid who wears his emotions on his sleeves. That can be to his benefit sometimes. Sometimes it can be his downfall a little bit when he plays. But in terms of he doesn't share very much with the media, he frankly doesn't really like doing media that much. And one thing that he's made very clear whenever I've spoken to him, or you've seen with some of his social media posts, is he's in a position as the number one player in the country being recruited by big-time schools where when he doesn't say anything, it only drives the speculation more. And he hates speculation about his future. So he's just one of those kids who's just a little bit different in that he doesn't really like all the attention that he's getting, at least in terms of wanting to talk about his recruitment and things like that.
You got a comp for what kind of player he is? Like, anyone that his game reminds you of?
I mean, that's always tough because he's a little bit of a unique guy. I have compared him in the past to maybe someone like a Miles Bridges type player. There's a little bit of Dylan Brooks to him, but he's also more skilled than either of those guys is in terms of passing and how he sees the floor and stuff like that. But just think of those big physical guys who can do a lot of things, and he kind of falls in that thing. Some people have gone as far as to compare him some to Michael Beasley when he was coming out of high school. I don't think he's quite on that level of Beasley. He's certainly not as skilled of a shooter and things like that, and not as dominant of a rebounder. But in terms of like a 6'8", toolsy guy who's really versatile, you can certainly see some of those comparisons.
So he's listed as a power forward, but it sounds like you think he's just like a strong wing more so than like a really a four.
Yeah, I think ultimately he's a small forward at the highest level, but he's one of those guys who you can kind of move around a little bit. I think ideally he's looking to play the wing, and if you look, Kansas they just announced the signing of Keanu Dawes, who is most definitely a four-man. So that bodes well for them saying, hey, we've got your four to play alongside of you, with you as our three. But he can play either the three or the four in the college game.
Yeah, you mentioned maybe not quite to the Michael Beasley level. What about Josh Jackson? Like somewhere in between those two, maybe?
Yeah, there's a little bit of the Josh Jackson element to him, too. Probably not quite as twitchy of an athlete, not as quick, but certainly has a little bit of an edge to him like Josh Jackson had.
Okay, all right. What do you think of the Kansas class as a whole?
The high school class is a good one. They've got a point guard in Taylor Kinney that should be able to come in and play right away. Davion Atkins is an athletic power forward who I think is going to provide some minutes up front and be a guy who can go and finish lobs like Kansas likes the bigs to do. And then with guys like Trent Perry and Luke Barnett, you've got kind of more depth guys. The transfer class is not big so far. You've got Dawes, who I think is going to be very good. He was a borderline double-double machine at Utah. And then this Leroy Blyden kid from Toledo, you always wonder how a guy is going to transfer up from a smaller level. But that guy was ridiculous as a freshman in the MAC. He's quick. He can shoot from deep. He can get other guys going. On the hoof at least, he looks like a Bill Self dynamic guard.
Is a Bill Self guard what they need, or do they need somebody who can shoot?
Well, that's the good thing about Blyden is he can shoot, and they definitely need some more shooting, though. Obviously, that's been a little bit of a sore spot for KU here these last couple of years, but Blyden is going to arrive as a guy who can shoot, and I'm sure they'd like to find another shooter in the portal as well.
Speaking of what they lost, what do you? Budunga was rated as a top 5 guy. I think he's a tremendous defensive player, but he's a glorified, alley-oop catcher offensively. Tiller was a guy who a couple times would show you, look, I can be a stretch 4, and then usually that wouldn't be there offensively. But yet they were both in the. I think Tiller was in the 40s, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even higher. Maybe he's in the 20s as far as the transfer rankings. What do you think Kansas actually lost in those two?
Well, you lost guys who played a lot of minutes and started a lot. Flory, obviously, his defense is still ahead of his offense, but me having the benefit of having watched him since the spring of his sophomore year in high school, the strides that he's made on the offensive end were pretty significant, and I think he's probably due for another bump because he was certainly more skilled and more likely to go and score a bucket if you throw it to him in the post as a sophomore than he was as a freshman. Tiller was a bit of a mixed bag when he was good, like against Arizona and BYU. He was outstanding. When he was bad, like he was at the end of the year, it was a struggle, but, Tiller was a guy who really hadn't played a lot of basketball the last year and a half before arriving at KU, so he was kind of working his way in. But I really like him a lot as a pickup in Missouri. Is it fair to label him as a Mark Mitchell replacement? Probably not, because Mitchell was so good. But I think he's a guy who's got a chance to be a dynamic front court player for them, and that maybe I think it doesn't mean it's going to mean he's a better player, but I think from a personality standpoint, Gates might be a little bit better of a fit for him than Self was.
Interesting. How personality-wise, maybe not necessarily basketball style-wise?
Yeah, that stuff matters. Fit is always important. I think Kansas certainly wanted Tiller to be a little tougher and to spend a little more time banging and using that size of his, and certainly Dennis Gates is going to want him to do that too. But I think there may be a little bit of a difference in how that message is conveyed, and we'll be interested to see if Tiller maybe reacts a little bit better to Gates.
Yeah, that's interesting. What do you think of the Mizzou class overall with everything they've got coming in? They've got 2 great freshmen, but let's start with the transfer class. What do you think of their transfer class?
It's a really good transfer class. It's a top 12 transfer class as of right now. The transfers keep flying. It started the day at like number 8, but as people added things, it's kind of slid a little bit. But it's a good one. We talked about Tiller. I like Jalen Carey. He's not like a sexy guy in the transfer portal coming from Tennessee, but he gives them a physical presence in the low post. A guy who can be a potential, kind of enforcer around the basket for them. And then Jameer Jones, man, talk about an athlete who can get out and finish in transition. This guy is a high flyer. I think he's got the tools to be a multi-positional defender. And, I love what I like is everyone's talking about Tony Bryant and especially Jason Crow coming in this year as McDonald's All-Americans. I think the roster with Trent Pierce coming back, some of the other guys they got coming back, is really suited to kind of ease the pressure that's going to be on those guys to produce right away. Now, ideally, they can find another ball handler in the portal to go along with Crow so he doesn't have to be the guy to handle it every possession, every night. But I really like what they're doing in terms of building a team around these guys so that they can come in and be in a position to succeed.
What are the comps, best comps you could think of for both Jason Crow and Tony Bryant?
Yeah, some people have thrown out a Brandon Jennings comparison with Jason Crow, and I can see that one a little bit. I think
that is like you're going old school there. I mean,
yeah,
Brandon.
Well,
I know. I'm older. I'm pretty sure I'm older than you, Bossy.
For a while now, I'm in 27 years of doing this. So,
yeah, because I like looking across the window at our, 20, 21-year-old intern and our 26-year-old board op, and they're like, never heard of him.
Yeah.
Did you know who Brandon Jennings is?
I knew Brandon Jennings,
okay.
Milwaukee Buck. Come on now.
All right. My bad. I digress.
55 in a game as a rookie, but he's a high-scoring, offensive-minded point guard who can set other guys up. I think that's the thing that people are going to find out and be most pleased about with Crow when he gets there is that he's a much better passer than advertised. He's been in situations where he's been encouraged to shoot as much as possible, and he's been happy to do that. But when he's surrounded by other talent, he's put up assist numbers, and the guy sees the floor and has an off-the-charts basketball IQ. Brian, I don't know that I have a great comparison that leaps immediately to mind, but we're talking about a guy that is a big-time athlete, really hasn't played a ton of organized basketball, didn't start getting serious about basketball until he was in high school. But I know that at the McDonald's game, and you take this for what it's worth, sitting with NBA personnel, he was one guy that they looked at relative to rankings where he's, ranked in the mid-20s in most places compared to some of the other guys, and they were like, why isn't this guy ranked higher? And we were like, well, when you see him in games versus workouts, there's still some experience things to be worked out, and he's got to get a bit stronger. But he's a big-time athlete. He's got a projectable jump shot, and he's a guy I think that ideally for Missouri, he can come in next year and with a plan of, all right, Tony, we're going to throw you in here for 15 to 20 minutes. Your job is just to play as hard as possible, and then we'll see how we can build you up from there.
One of the things I've seen from Crow in the limited high school action that I've seen in the All-Star games is if you got guys who can finish, one thing that's going to return to Mizzou Arena this year is the lob dunk because he can throw those up really well.
Yeah, he can, and Tony Bryant can finish those things. Bryson Tiller can finish those things, and Jameer Jones is definitely a lob finisher, and I think Trent Pierce will be the beneficiary of some lobs too. But yeah, so what I was saying is Crow can really see the floor, and what has always stood out the most to me with Crow is he has the ability to play the game fast without being out of control. There's a lot of guys who can play fast, but staying under control is a different thing. And he's able to kind of tiptoe that line between under control and out of control and doing it at breakneck speed.
Yeah. So what do you think Mizzou is preseason going in next year? What kind of ranking do you give the Tigers?
It's hard to say for sure until we see the rest of the teams finish their portal classes and stuff like that. But I see a team that what were they 10-8 in the SEC this year, and they lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament. I think they should be. What seed were they? Were they
7?
7? Okay.
No, they were 10. They were 10. Miami was the
10.
7.
So I see a team that should be on the right side of the top 8 seeds. Like in the 6-7 range, at least, and a team that should be expected to win a game in the tournament, and a team that I think looks primed to take the next step that Missouri fans have been wanting them to take next year.
Okay, all right. So the real reason, obviously, I mean, we know with the numbers that are being thrown out there with the rankings and everything that everyone should be quite optimistic. But that also means Dennis Gates shouldn't have any excuse about going out in round 1 either.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't get into that stuff too much. I try and keep it more to projecting talent and stuff. And I think people know I'm a pretty big believer in Dennis Gates. I actually think the local schools, obviously Bill Self has done what Bill Self's done over the years. His record speaks for itself, and I'm really excited to see what Casey Alexander is going to do at Kansas State. And obviously Kansas City, UMKC got a great hire with Mark Turgeon. But I think the coaches at the local universities are all pretty good. And hopefully Gates can kind of show people that he's capable of taking Missouri to that next step.
Yeah, at some point you got to push past that first weekend, and then I think that's going to be a big one. I'm not asking you. I'm just making a declarative statement on that. Casey Alexander, what did you think of the hire when K-State hired him?
It's an interesting one. I've not had the personal pleasure of getting to know Coach Alexander just yet. So from an individual standpoint, I don't know a ton about him, but I have been able to watch his teams at Belmont play. I think they play, a skill-based game. They spread the floor. I think they're going to look for opportunities to run. I think he's an interesting hire, and I think he's certainly a different direction from where they've been.
Okay, and what do you think of the massive transfer class that they've got? I mean, they're starting over from scratch. A lot of players. 8 transfers already. A couple of college kids. What do you think of how he's building the roster so far?
Yeah, it's interesting because if you just go by the transfer portal rankings, it's maybe not the most awe-inspiring class just yet. But here's the things that I think are very important to point out. Among those transfers, they have 5 former 4-star high school prospects. Isaiah Abraham from Georgetown, while his numbers weren't great as a sophomore, if you look at the leap he took from his freshman season at UConn to what he did last year at Georgetown, it's a massive leap. I think he's a really good utility athlete who I think is ready to take another jump. Brandon Recksteiner from Colorado State and Jaden Schutt from Virginia Tech actually played together 2 years ago at Virginia Tech. Recksteiner can really, really shoot the ball. Probably more of a 2 guard than a 1 guard at about 6'1", 6'2", but he's a 40% shooter from deep. He's always shot the ball going way back to high school. That shooting is going to travel. Jaden Schutt has 3 years of experience in the ACC, so going over the Big 12 is not going to be a big difference for him. He's a near 40% shooter from 3. Again, we're talking about a fit. JT Rock is a big kid, a 7-footer who started his career at Iowa State. Got off to a little bit of a rocky start. He graduated a year early before making his way there. Didn't play a ton of minutes after transferring to New Mexico, but this kid is massive, and he was super productive in his minutes. 6.5 points and a little bit over 3.5 rebounds per game and only 12.8 minutes per game. So, you see some potential there. And then the other former star is Matt Gilhool, who's coming over from LSU. He redshirted as a freshman. He's another big kid. He can run. He's a fluid athlete. Now, we don't know yet how that transfers to the college game, but he's a guy that we know has a base level of talent. He's got Big 12 size, and he's a Big 12 athlete. So let's see what he can do once he gets plugged into the system.
What he doesn't seem to have, though, is any of his former players from Belmont. How much of a surprise is that? I think the last one that was out there was Charnowski, who landed at Duke. He was number 30, but they had 2 top 60 guys. He didn't get anybody from his last team. What do you think of that?
That's a good question. I think whenever we see a coach go from mid-major to high major, or really a lot of coaches switches, we see a lot of them bringing along recruits with them. And I think Devin Hutcherson, a high school kid that they're bringing along with them, is a good one and is going to be a stinky good player down the road, 6'4" utility athlete. But in this case, I think the Charnowskis, the Tyler Lindblades, those guys saw an opportunity to get paid, and they took it. I don't think Kansas State is in a position right now where they can probably compete with Duke or Tennessee when it comes to NIL money, and that's just the economics of college basketball right now.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure it's like those guys look at it like, hey, coach, you took the opportunity to go get paid.
Yeah. Exactly.
We'd love to come play for you if you can meet these other offers, but, unfortunately, you're just not seeing a lot of guys take a discount deal, and I think it's safe to assume that those guys got pretty good deals at the places they're going.
Well, and so, K-State was said to be splashing around a lot of money under Jerome Tang. I mean, did that change? He's not here anymore. That's part of the reason he's not here is they allegedly gave him a lot of money and he didn't return the wins. Is there a reset on how much they're going to spend? Is there a prove it period? Okay, you go prove that you can identify the talent at this amount of money, then we'll back up the Brinks truck again.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of all that. Kansas State has proven that they're happy to support their athletics, and I think K-State donors will definitely chip in where they need to. But you've also got a situation, you're in flux with just how much you're going to owe Jerome Tang after firing him early, so you got to figure out where that money's coming from. You got a new football coach that you've dedicated a lot of resources to. And now you got to find money for basketball too, with a situation where the last couple of years after spending a bunch of money haven't gone quite so well. And even if you're still giving a fair amount of money, it's not like they're poor right now. But when you've got to fill an entire roster, to get the kind of roster you're thinking of, you're looking at a really significant NIL ask. Even if they have a pretty good portion, when you're having to find 9-10 guys out of the transfer portal, that's a lot of money, even if you're getting guys that you're hoping you can coach up and play. Just because, a guy like Brandon Rexsteiner probably could have made $500,000 going back to Colorado State this year if he wanted to. You know what I mean? He's not coming cheap. And when you've got to find a lot of guys like that, it starts adding up.
We're talking right now to Eric Bossy, 24/7 Sports National Basketball Director. Time for my final four quickies. Bossy, I'll start you with this. How much of the NFL draft will you watch?
Probably not much.
Not much. Okay. When do we get a CBA in college basketball?
Hopefully sooner than later, but I'm always interested to figure out how that gets negotiated when we're talking about guys who have limited terms of eligibility versus guys who go to the pros who can play theoretically as long as they're capable enough of doing so.
Right.
So I think that's an interesting part about it. But hopefully sooner than later, and if not collective bargaining, certainly something is going to get figured out. Players deserve to be paid. Players deserve to move around as they see fit. But we've got to get some type of guardrails on all this. I think everyone's in agreement with that.
Okay. Real quick here on the last two. Give me a sleeper in the recruiting process.
A sleeper in the recruiting process in
high school or transfer portal, just somebody you think is way better than they're being listed at.
Keaton Wagler. How about that?
Okay.
No. In all seriousness, boy, that's a good one. I really think Tony Bryant is a sleeper, despite his high ranking.
Okay.
It just may take a year to really see what that guy's got.
Okay. And hopefully that's still in a Missouri uniform. And finally, where does Stokes land?
I'm going to say Kansas as of today, because that's where the most credible information we've been able to come up with is saying that he's going to end up, but that's not a guarantee by any means.
Okay. All right. Bossy, great stuff as always. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again down the road.
Appreciate you having me on.
The program with Soren Petro.
Ow! Ow!
Weekdays from 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, listen up. Gann Asphalt and Concrete is Kansas City's best when it comes to any kind of concrete work. Maybe it's asphalt work, whatever you need done. If you own or manage a property, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Concrete work, parking lot repave, crack filling, seal coating, full asphalt installation. Their experienced crews handle it all. Call today for a free bid and secure your spot before the calendar fills up. They are filling up fast. They're Kansas City's best. They've been solving parking lot problems for more than 30 years. So don't wait. Go to GannAsphalt.com. That's GannAsphalt.com, or call 816-484-3338. That's 816-484-3338. And if you're looking, they're hiring. They're looking for experienced asphalt and concrete paving foremen, operators, and laborers. If you've been looking for a trusted company who offers top-of-the-market pay, company-provided insurance, PTO, and many more benefits, go to GannAsphalt.com/careers. That's GannAsphalt.com/careers. Find out more about Gann Asphalt and Concrete today.
Backyard fun season is here, and that means those nasty party-crashing mosquitoes are here too. Hey, I'm all for donating blood, but not on my patio, and not to a bug. But I've got a guy who keeps my yard mosquito-free, and if you call today, he'll come out in his clean red truck and do it for free. That's right, my guy is Ryan Lawn and Tree, and right now, your first mosquito treatment
But first, the La Feta Delicatessen end of the hour answer. How many pitchers have thrown a perfect game and pitched for the Royals? Obviously, no one's done both.
Well, David Cohn threw a
time.
perfect game for the Yanks.
Mhm.
Tom Browning threw one for the Reds and then had a cup of coffee with the Royals at the end of his career.
Mm-hmm.
I got those two right away. I never did get to the third one, did I?
Mm-mm.
Give me a clue.
Chicago White Sox 2012. I'll give you the team and the year.
White Sox.
He was their Royal in 2010, very briefly.
I'll say he's a Royal.
Yep.
I'm not going to remember his name.
Philip Umber.
Philip Umber.
On this date in 2012.
Wow. Okay. The old Philip Umber, huh?
Old Philip Umber. Burnt Umber.
Billy Donovan has decided to step down as the head coach of the Chicago Bulls after 6 seasons. The Bulls announced Donovan's decision Tuesday, saying they wanted the longtime coach to remain in Chicago, but adding that they respected his choice. I mean, he was somewhere else before the Bulls, wasn't he? Like, he's been gone from Florida for a lot longer than 6 years.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, is my recollection on that. But if you're going to walk, the Carolina job was sitting there.
A little late.
And now supposedly all the things he didn't like the recruiting, it's just like the NBA. Hey, here's the check. Like, wouldn't presumably Carolina be able to write the biggest check, or are we looking at it the wrong way?
He spent 5 years at the Thunder.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, yeah, he was at the Thunder first. So he's been gone for 11 years.
Yep.
Either he just doesn't want college basketball, or maybe Carolina doesn't pay like you'd think they'd pay. I don't know, but he'll be a top target next year.